Hello! So, I seem to be having some internet issues. Hope everybody's doing well. Alright. I'm a little annoyed, but, you know. Okay, am I on? I don't know. Okay, we're on. We're on. For now. I do apologize for the technical difficulties. Hello, Sleek. Hello, Pretend Fashionista and Salty Robot. Welcome aboard the poop train. Boop, boop. Again, I do apologize. I'm just going to give the stream just a little bit of time to, hopefully everything works out okay. Yeah, the stream dropped on me, apparently, while I was, setting up, but it's okay. I am glad everybody's here, and I'm glad we can do this. So, how is everybody? What's going on out there in the world, little baggies? And just to let y'all know, you might be hearing some bong rips tonight, because I got my bong cleaned. So yeah, if you hear any weird noises, it's probably going to be my bong. But anyway, I'm going to just give a little, like I said, I just want to give a little time here to get everything set up here. Hopefully the stream, hopefully my internet doesn't like fuck off on me again. Oh god, you drank your first White Claw. I am so sorry, Sleek. I don't get the White Claw thing. I really don't get it. I'm more of a Truly guy. I think Truly is way better than White Claw. What flavor was it? Let's just okay, there we go. Here we go. I mean, it's no Celsius. Well, no. Yeah, it's definitely no Celsius. You know, drinking White Claw isn't gonna make you eligible for a class action lawsuit. All White Claw is ass flavor, all of it. I mean, you know, some people love the stuff. To each their own. I mean, when I drank, I was a tequila guy, and I know people who absolutely hate tequila. So, you know. Ugh. But no, let's see, the Tickle, welcome aboard the poop train. Boop boop. Ugh, it was grapefruit ass. Oh god. You know, Yeah, I've mostly quit drinking, but yeah, when I did drink a lot, like I bought one of those. Excuse me. So I bought one of those. It was like a 12 pack of White Claw, but it was like all these different assorted flavors, and yeah, it all just tasted like crap to me. But like I said, truly makes they make the good shit. In my opinion. Which, as we all know, my subjective opinions are objectively true. Thank you. Yeah, my allergies have been kicking my ass the last week. And it was kind of funny because after the last stream that we did, I actually I was actually so sick the next day I couldn't go into work. Like I don't know what this is, what I've got going on in my sinuses right now, but they were fucking me up. I've also heard that Bud Light makes a really good they make a really good hard cola. Modern Medusa, welcome aboard the poop train. Boop boop. And I've never had a Blake's hard cider. I could make yes, yeah, a sparkling booze drink with just my soda stream and booze. Yeah, we need to make. Yeah, I could make like a hard Mountain Dew. And all right, first bong rip of the evening. I've actually cut down a lot on my weed intake. I'm kind of proud of myself. Ooh. Wow. Actually, hit a little smoother than I was expecting. Anyway, so, you know what? Oh, pardon me. I got one thing I want to look up real quick, and then we're going to get the poop train is leaving the station after this. So, you'll be here till you pass out per usual. As always, yeah, we do need to do a Discord call. I understand you've got some stuff. I understand you got we've got all the OBS. You've got the OBS stuff set up, from what I understand, or mostly. And we should set up an excuse me. We should do like a experimental stream sort of thing, where we test all the stuff out. Hopefully, we can get this done by Valentine's Day. Oh, and by the way, I have a special announcement. Valentine's Day, I'm doing a special Valentine's Day stream. It's going to be called Atari Prawn and Chill. And we are going to sit and watch as I try to play through every single Atari 2600 porn game. So yeah, that's gonna. I've even got like a perfect idea for a thumbnail too. I'll actually get started on it tonight. I do want to do I do want to make a thumbnail for the Jesse's birthday bash. But yeah, we're gonna do that, and then yeah, I'll make thumbnail. I'll try and make thumbnails for that and the Valentine's Day Atari porn stream. I've got this really great idea where I'm going to take like the Atari 26, one of my Atari 2600 joysticks, and wear it like a cod piece. Guru, welcome aboard the poop train. Boop boop. How you doing? So where do we want to start? Where do we want to start, little baggies? Because you know, I can go either way. I've got Gail. I got some Gail stuff we can go through. I got more of the Lorne book. You know what? No. We're gonna get going with the Lorne. I don't want to bury the lead. Let's just. I promised y'all Literature with Lorne, and goddamn it, I'm gonna give you Literature with Lorne. Okay. I'm glad, Guru. I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. You know, I'm hanging in there. It's all we can do, you know. Although before we get started, I'm really bad. I'm sorry, guys. I do need to step away for a second to take a pee. I need to go make tinkles. And then we're going to come back and we're going to dive back into Taken Abroad by noted TCAP alumnus Lorne Lynn Armstrong. BRB, motherfuckers. Okay, I apologize. I just lost a couple pounds. I'm feeling good. Feeling good about this. All right. Let's go into some fucking Lorne. Okay. And boom. All right, so last we left off, Aaron had finished his basic training. He went to mechanic school, and now he's training the Iraqi police, because that's apparently a thing that mechanics in the Gulf War did. That's what they, you know, mechanics routinely were training Iraqi police. And see, he's had He's almost been blown up twice. He's been shot at twice. He lost his bunkmate and best friend. And he, and all of this was glossed over in like a couple of paragraphs. So, oh yeah, and then he lost his shit after he saw some children get killed. Again, while doing stuff that was far above his pay grade. So apparently now Aaron is heading home, and let's see how his homecoming goes. Yeah, the military in Avatar makes more sense than this. Shit. Okay, so we're at Chapter 5 now. Chapter 5. Aaron looked up at the clock above the door of his room. It read 1:45 p.m. In just a few hours, he'd be on a plane and headed for home. He'd spent the last 3 months in the psychiatric ward of the hospital trying to get back to a normal state of mind. The doctor had told him the images he had seen and the echoes of the cries that he had heard would never leave him, and there was no way anyone could make him forget what happened. The only thing anyone could do was help him learn how to deal with them so he could continue on with his life in a somewhat normal way. It's been 3 months since he'd lost it in the field, but in his mind it felt like it just happened yesterday. He began to wonder if he was ready to leave the hospital and be in society without supervision. The last thing he wanted to do was to hurt an innocent person because of an unconscious state of mind. "No," he said as he looked in the mirror of the small bathroom. "I'm ready. The doctor wouldn't release me if he didn't think I was ready." He pulled on his thin jacket, went to the bed, closed his suitcase, and picked it up, along with his briefcase full of papers, and then walked out the door. On his way to the checkout desk, he met a nurse in the hall that had helped the doctor with Aaron while he had been there. He talked to her for a few minutes, and then she gave him a hug and wished him luck as he lifted his suitcase from the floor and started towards the checkout desk. Aaron took one last look around before he boarded the plane. He never really thought he'd be upset about... He never really thought he'd be at all upset about leaving the place where he had lost so much of himself. But he felt a strained feeling in his stomach because he was leaving what he had grown used to in a year, and leaving people behind that he grew to care about. Wow, he only did a year? Shit! Aaron got lucky, y'all. He didn't feel right about leaving. He felt like his job was still here, but unfinished. He felt like his job here was still unfinished, but could not do anything about it. He looked down at the ground in front of him and then made his way up the portable staircase and entered the airplane that would carry him back to the States. He found his way to his seat and prepared for the plane to take off, and then stared out the window at the country that was full of turmoil. When the plane began to roll down the runway, he muttered to himself, "This is it. No more madness. This is where I need to try to start my life over again. Hell of a chore that's going to be." He closed his eyes and let his mind drift away as the plane began lifting higher and higher in the air. When the plane finally leveled out, Aaron took a couple of pictures out of his family. He took a couple of pictures out of his family. He prayed that he could be the person they expected him to be. He always did his best to make his mother proud of what he'd done, but this was altogether different. Maybe not for her, but it was for him. He put the pictures away, then lost himself in peaceful thoughts as he looked out the window at the sight of fluffy white clouds that looked like cotton, and it made it feel like he was sitting in heaven. He thought of Paul as he slipped off to sleep and wondered if this is what Paul was viewing in heaven. Yeah, he and Paul never got to consummate their obvious love. The flight was long after making 3 flight changes before finally landing in Indianapolis, Indiana. 23 hours and 13 minutes long, to be exact. He was tired and was relieved when he set his first foot down on the soil of his home country. He hadn't gotten much sleep on the planes, and he was anxious to get home and in his own bed after so long of sleeping on Army-issued bunks. There was a large crowd of people in the airport to welcome the troops home as they walked in the door. He shook the hands of many people that showed support for him and the rest of the troops. After getting about 3/4 of the way through the crowd, Aaron caught a glimpse of his mother and began moving toward her with a happy but nervous smile on his face. Before he could set his bags down, she threw his arms around him, and he felt her joy and relief that he was home. "Oh, I'm so happy you made it home safely," she muttered to him. Was he home safely? He thought to himself. Did he really make it home safely, or was the person that his mother knew before still left in Iraq while another Aaron, a damaged beyond repair Aaron, came home in his place? Could he hold up to the expectations that stood before him in this world that had been without him for a long, horror-filled year? Wait, so Aaron thinks of himself in the third person? Vast. Oh, we got new people. I hope you get to the sex stream, y'all. The sex scene. This stream, it's so funny. Okay. Ricky Spanish. Ricky Spanish. Vast Ravioli. Road Scholar. Welcome aboard the poop train. Poop. The way he wrote it, Cyber Squeak, like you were like, I was half expecting there to be like Aaron and Paul playing grab ass in the back of a Hummer, just before giving each other Hummers. But no, I got it. So Aaron thinks to himself in the third person. That's a new one. He pushed the thoughts from his head when his mother moved away from him and picked up his briefcase. "Let's get you home," he said with a broad smile on her face and a tear of joy rolling down her aged and worried cheek. Aaron picked up his suitcase and followed her to the car, waving and saying thank you to people that gave him praise as they walked by him. He set his suitcase in the trunk and closed it, then went around to the passenger side of the car and sat himself upon the soft, warm leather seat. His mother, already sitting in the driver's side, started the engine and gave him a quick, proud glance. She realized he was deep in thought when he had his head down and his eyes closed. "Oh, Aaron, are you all right?" she asked with a worried look upon her face. Aaron opened his eyes and looked at her. She saw a tear falling down his cheek. "I don't deserve all this attention," he told her. "All these people are here praising me and the other soldiers while there are people dying over there still." He looked away at the parking area, then back at his mother again. He saw the worried look on her face, so he changed gears quickly to assure her that he was fine. "I'm sorry, Mommy. Let's go home. I want to go home," he said to her with a smile that he wondered. He said to her with a smile that he wondered if she could see that he had to paint it on. "Oh, Aaron, you want to go out for some ice cream? We'll go to Dairy Queen and get you a Blizzard. You like Blizzards, don't you?" Okay, that was just editorial me talking there. But if I had written that story, that totally would have been in there. She put the car in gear and they quickly made their way out of the airport parking lot and onto the highway that would take them home. Moving the car in the right lane to get on the off-ramp, Wait! Let me fucking see if we got this straight. He is gonna absolutely gloss over getting shot at, getting almost blown up twice, losing his best friend and would-be lover, and watching children get blown up in front of him. But he is gonna describe in every detail the ride home. Oh, Night Guru. Okay, so anyway, during this incredibly detailed ride home, she began making small conversation with him to get his mind off of whatever it was he was thinking about. "So, how was the flight back to the States?" she inquired. "It was good. A little bumpy at times, but some turbulence is expected in a flight as long as that one," he replied. "I hope you don't mind, but I redecorated your room. I painted it blue with red and white border paper. I also had the old brown carpet replaced with a light blue one," she described. "I don't mind. It actually sounds pretty nice. That brown carpet was old anyway. That needed to be replaced," Aaron stated. So she basically redecorated his room so he's sleeping in America. He's sleeping with America. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. I wish I had the money to do it when you was still in school, but money was tight then, she replied. Are you trying to tell me I was expensive? Aaron asked with a joking tone in his voice. No, I wouldn't say a thing like that, she joked back at him with a wink of her eye and a pat on his leg. Banter, little baggies. Lorne Armstrong banter. He gave her a smile and moved his eyes back to the road. He all of a sudden got covered in a cold sweat and his heart began racing when his mother slowed to make a right-hand turn, and he saw his friend Paul standing on the corner in uniform with an M16 rifle resting on his shoulder. Aaron rubbed his eyes quickly and looked again. Gone! Nobody there at all. What was that all about, he wondered. He looked over at his mother to see if she had seen the panic all over him. Thank God she had her attention focused on the road. He did his best to quickly calm his heart rate and remove the sweat from his face without giving away any hint of something happening. Now, I know PTSD can really fuck a dude up, but if you're having hallucinations, there's probably something else going on there. It's probably not just PTSD. I'm just saying, it's probably a really good thing that they didn't put Aaron through MEPS. As she slowed the car to turn into the driveway, Aaron read the big sign that was stretched from on tree to another on opposite sides of the driveway. It read, "Welcome home, Aaron," in big red and blue letters with a white background. Merca. No, Aaron, I'm the one that should be thanking you, she said with a serious tone on her... Oh, sorry. I skipped a bit. Looking at his mother in appreciation, he leaned over and gave her a kiss on the cheek. Thank you, Mommy. No, Aaron, I'm the one that should be thanking you, she said with a serious tone in her voice. For what? He asked. For being born, she replied. He watched a tear roll from her eye and down her cheek and realized how lucky he was to have a mother like her. After the car came to a stop, they both got out and walked to the trunk to retrieve Aaron's bags. They closed the trunk and walked toward the house, his mother fumbling through her purse on the way to find the key to unlock the door. After she had the door unlocked, she walked in with Aaron in tow. Setting his bags on the floor in front of him, he flipped the light switch next to the entrance door to the on position. Surprise! A chorus of yells came from people jumping out of hiding places and startled Aaron. Yeah, that's a really good thing to do to somebody who's coming home after a severe case of post-traumatic stress disorder. Just do that, guys. His face turned pale against the unexpected event, and he had to quickly regain himself from flashbacks of Iraqi insurgents attacks. Wiping the sweat from his clammy hands, he worked up a smile and began shaking hands and giving warm hugs to friends and family members that gathered together for his return from the war. His mother had all kinds of food set out on the table and counter, most of which were favorites of his that his mother made special. There was chicken pie, butterscotch Rice Krispie squares, Reese's peanut butter squares, vanilla cream puffs, apple pies, chocolate cake, mashed potatoes mixed with corn and ham cubes, spare ribs with Mountain Dew. Oh, okay. Spare ribs with... At first I was like thinking, what, did they marinate the spare ribs in Mountain Dew? I mean, judging from the spread so far, I wouldn't be surprised. But no, it's spare ribs with Mountain Dew, punch, and water to wash it all down with. Everyone had their turn talking to Aaron and asking him all kinds of questions about being over in Iraq and everything we were doing there. He felt like a broken record after answering most of the same questions 5 or 6 times over. Some of the questions hit him hard, and he did his best at answering them without breaking into tears. But most of the questions that were asked were ones that he'd expected people to ask him anyway. It was about 10:30 p.m. before the last couple of people finally shook Aaron's hand and gave him a hug before walking out the door to go home. He was happy when he was finally able to get in the shower and soak his head to try to rid himself of the headache that had developed at the rush of questions over the evening. When he got out of the shower, he dried himself off and put on his night clothes, then stood looking at himself in the mirror. Will I ever be able to find the same man that I used to be before I went to Iraq? Or are these images of the war going to haunt me more as the time goes on? Well, now he's referring to himself. Now he's thinking to himself in the first person. This is progress. It's a step in the right direction. He asked himself. He let his head fall down and closed his eyes as he said a silent prayer. After saying Amen, he lifted his head back up to take one last look at the mirror at himself before finding his way down the hall to his bedroom. His mother had already decided to retire for the night, and she would clean up from the party the next morning, so he had already said goodnight to her. After climbing into bed and turning the light out, he laid there looking up into the dark and let his mind drift back in time when he and Paul was playing basketball and Paul had accidentally poked him in the eye, making his eye turn black and blue. Aaron smiled at the memory and wished his friend had made it back home alive instead of inside a decorated pine box that was to be placed in the ground. And he was probably no doubt remembering the time off scene where Paul kissed his little eye and made it feel all better. He had difficulty sleeping all night, and he tossed and turned, and when he did finally fall asleep from the dreams he was having. When morning finally shone in from the window, Aaron stumbled into the kitchen with his eyes still half closed. "Good morning," his mother... Oh, sorry. "Good morning," his mother said in a gentle tone. "Good morning," he returned. "By the looks of you, you should go back to bed for another 8 hours," she said as she set a fresh hot cup of coffee on the placemat in front of him. "Thank you. I didn't sleep too well last night," he replied. "If I can stay up all day today, I'll be able to sleep better tonight." "Would you like for me to stop by the drugstore and get you something to help you sleep? Maybe some Bud Light?" she asked. "No, that won't be necessary. Thank you anyway, Mom," he answered after taking his first sip of the hot coffee. "What do you want to do today?" she asked him. "I think I just want to stay home today and get over this jet lag. It'll be nice to just relax and try to get some things off my mind." "All right. Well, I have some errands to run, so I'll be back this afternoon," she explained. "Okay, drive careful," he demanded. "I will." He stood up and gave his mom a kiss on the cheek before she walked out and then closed the door behind her. After watching her drive away, he poured himself another cup of coffee, sat down on the couch, and hit the power button on the remote control to the television. He flipped through the channels until he found one with the world news on it, curious if there were any reports about the war. It was on that channel for nearly 30 minutes before they mentioned anything about the war, and he had almost fallen asleep. He rubbed his eyes and sat up straight after falling back into his slouch so he wouldn't miss anything they had to update about the war. His eyes grew wide, his hands became clammy, and his heart rate picked up as he began watching images on the television of a suicide bombing that killed 22 people in Baghdad. It brought back sickening memories for Aaron, and tears began to fall from his already tired eyes. Maybe I should turn the channel, he thought, but he wanted to see what was going on over there. Being back home didn't make him feel separated from the country that he had just left. It only made him feel stripped of the chance of being able to regain his sanity for himself and for the innocent people of Iraq, and he was afraid that might play heavily on keeping himself from going insane. After all, I don't know if you guys can really read along here, but Jesus Christ, the all the spelling and grammatical errors in this book, and the thing is, he had editors, multiple editors on this, and I'm glad you like Mom's voice. I like Mom's voice too. It's kind of how I haven't actually heard Lorne's mom yet. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. But that's what I imagine Lorne's real mom to talk like. I don't know why, but that's just in my head canon. That is what Lorne's mom sounds like. After all, one sentence. He made after all a complete sentence in this book. A person is usually filled with self-guilt when they don't complete a task they set out to do. Was this going to happen to him? Was he going to drive himself to insanity because he was deprived of finishing a job he swore to himself that he was gonna finish? Or is he filled with guilt because of the horrible way he'd witnessed people dying in front of him and he couldn't stop it? That question made frightening and disgusting images appear in his memory and brought what he felt was the cold, hard truth in the open. Those people had died because he wasn't where he should have been. He should have realized that things were going too smoothly on those days. Yeah, you know, getting almost blown up twice, getting shot at by insurgents, and losing your best friend. I mean, that was smoothly. That was things going smoothly for Aaron. The things were just too quiet at those times, and that he was too relaxed in doing his job. His mechanic's job of training Iraqi policemen. Unconsciously, his mouth fell open as these thoughts filled his head. Just then the phone rang and snapped Aaron out of his transfixed state of mind. He wiped his eyes of the tears that he just realized had filled them. He wiped his eyes of the tears that he just realized had filled them, and then cleared his throat before picking up the portable telephone and hitting the talk button. Hello? Oh, hi! This is Mom, she stated. Aaron tried to disguise any sign of emotional problems he had just been having when he heard his mother's voice. He didn't want her to think that something was wrong and become worried. Hi, Mom, what's up? He asked, bringing forward a more cheerful tone to his voice. Not much, she answered. What are you doing? Watching a little bit of TV and relaxing, he answered. Good. I thought I'd give you a quick call and see if there was anything you needed while I'm out and about. I forgot to ask you before I left this morning, she explained. Wait, she did ask. Well, no, she just asked him if she needed to run to the drugstore and get him some drugs. But, I mean, I would say that counts. No, I'm fine, but thank you for thinking about me, though. You're welcome. I'll see you when I get home. Okay, bye, and drive careful. Aaron hung up the phone with a sigh of relief that he had been able to put his issue past his mother that time, even though it was a very strained effort to do so. He lifted his head up to the ceiling, closed his eyes, and began running through what he was thinking about before the phone had snapped him out of it. Those were ridiculous thoughts I had, he said out loud to himself. There's no way I could have possibly known what was going to happen. Yeah, I mean, you know, the news coverage of the war before enlisting had no way of preparing him. He looked at the television and saw the news reports about Iraq had ended, so he flipped the channel to country music videos, laid himself down on the couch, and drifted off to sleep. The sound of a car horn blaring in the driveway snapped him out of his sleep and made him snap up quickly from the couch. His nerves were on end for a few long seconds till he remembered where he was at and that it was his mother honking the horn in the driveway. He opened the door to find his mother loading up her arms with grocery bags, so he slipped on his shoes and hurried out to help her carry them in. You look like you just woke up, she stated. I did. What time is it? He asked. It's a little after 4 in the afternoon, she answered. Wow, I guess I must have been really tired. Well, you had a long flight, so that probably wore you out. Well, I feel a lot better now, Aaron explained as he stretched and yawned before taking an armful of grocery bags. Good. Does that mean you'll help me cook dinner? She asked with a smile on his face. Yeah, I guess it does, Aaron smiled at his mom because he could tell she just wanted him to help her so they could spend some quality time together. He was happy she missed him. What are we having for dinner? He inquired. I thought we might make a pizza and then play some cards or something. Would you be interested in that? That sounds good to me. I mean, it's not macaroni and cheese, so I'm going to have to sex up a 14-year-old girl online, but it's the perfect way to finish out the day, he replied as she fit one more bag of groceries in his already full arms. Good. Then let's get these groceries inside and get started on our pizza. They finished carrying in the rest of the groceries and began making their pizza. After eating, they played a few games of rummy, and she got Aaron caught up on the gossip of the family and told him stories of happenings at bingo and her work. He completely enjoyed himself, and she took his mind away from Iraq, and it helped him to relax easier. She never asked him anything about his time in Iraq while they spent their quality time together. Maybe she could see that he was bothered by guilt and the horrible images and memories from the war, and that he needed a few hours where he could escape from it all and be himself again. Funny how mothers could always see the most inner parts of their children when nobody else had a clue that something was wrong. It was after 1 o'clock in the morning when they finally put away the deck of cards and turned the lights out. Aaron was tired again, even though he had gotten a lot of sleep that day. He got out of his clothes, pulled back the covers, and climbed into bed, feeling good about the time he had spent with his mother. It wasn't long before he was fast asleep and lost in an endless night of tossing and turning. Aaron woke up to the smell of bacon, eggs, and biscuits flowing across his nose. He pulled his pants on, threw a shirt on, and then groggily slid into his slippers. He stumbled clumsily down the hall and into the kitchen toward the coffee pot. After pouring himself a cup of coffee and spilling a quarter of it on the counter, he toned into his mother as she spoke. "You're not the most graceful person in the morning, are you?" she said sarcastically. Aaron groaned as he fumbled with ripping off a couple sheets of paper towels to sop up the mess from overfilling his coffee cup. "I've definitely had mornings where I've conjured up more coordination than what I have this morning," he retorted. He threw the coffee-soaked paper towels in the trash, added some cream and sugar to his coffee, and shuffled his feet lazily to the kitchen table with his coffee in hand. His mother set a plate in front of him filled with 4 strips of bacon, 3 sunny-side-up eggs, and 1 steaming biscuit that was just pulled from the oven, along with a tall glass of shut the fuck up. Freshly squeezed orange juice. Or so it said on the carton. It didn't take him long to devour the food and down his orange juice. Once he finished eating, he began pouring his wake-up juice back into himself. "Are you gonna do anything today, or are you gonna rest another day?" his mother asked. "I'm gonna go see my friend Derek today," he replied. "I also might go to the Veterans Cemetery. After that, I'm gonna come back and make some calls and see if I can find where my friend Paul is buried." "Would you like me to be home when you make the calls?" she asked with a look of concern on his face. "No, I'll be fine. Thank you for asking, though." "All right, then. I'm heading to work now if you're all set. My number to the office is on the refrigerator in case you need me for anything." "Have a good day, Mom." "You too, and be careful," she added. "I will," Aaron replied. He gave her a kiss on the cheek before she walked out the door, then turned and headed for the shower. Feeling the hot water rush over his head and body was refreshing and relaxing, and it revitalized his energy that he had lost from the long flight across the ocean. After getting dressed, he poured himself another cup of coffee, walked outside, and stood next to his car and let the heat from the sunlight soak into his face. This was one of his favorite times of day, when the sun was just beginning to heat up the earth, and it was a comfortable temperature. He finished his coffee and returned his cup to the house before heading off to visit with his friend Derek. As he was driving, he took in all of the greenery beside the road that he hadn't been able to enjoy for the past year. It was nice to see those things again. It helped to ease some of the tension in his muscles that had been growing that morning. He saw Derek sitting outside on his porch peeling potatoes for his mother. Derek stood up when Aaron got out of the car and greeted his longtime friend. "Yo, Aaron, I heard you was back!" Derek stated as he sat down the potato peeler and reached out to shake Aaron's hand. "Yeah, I just got back 2 days ago," Aaron replied. "How you been, Derek?" "Good. Come on up to the porch. I'll get another peeler and you can help me peel these potatoes while we talk." "All right," Aaron answered with a slight smile, knowing that Derek had just wanted someone to help him so he could get finished with him quicker. Aaron sat down in the chair across from the one that Derek had occupied when he arrived. When Derek returned with a second peeler and a couple of glasses filled with ice and Coke, he asked, "Yo, so you must be happy to finally be home, huh?" "Yeah, kind of. I liked being over there too, though." Aaron's mind began to drift in thought a little, and Derek noticed it. "Oh, bruh. I know it must be a little hard on you. I've heard some stories about some of the things people go through over there. So if you don't want to talk about any of it, I understand. That's like fucked up, bro." "Thank you, Derek. I appreciate that," Aaron replied. They sat and talked for a couple hours while they peeled potatoes. Derek caught Aaron up on what he had been doing since graduation, and plus let him in on what he knew about some of their other friends from school. Aaron stayed and ate lunch with Derek and then went back home so he could start making phone calls to find out where his friend Paul was buried. Once he found a blank piece of paper, he pulled open the drawer to where his mother kept the phone book. He pulled it out and set it on the table and began thumbing through the pages until he found the phone number for Veteran Affairs. He removed the portable phone from its base and began punching in the numbers. He held the phone against his ear with his shoulder as he put the phone back in the drawer and waited for the call to be answered. Veterans Affairs, how may I direct your call? The voice on the other end asked. Hi, Aaron replied. I need to find out where a friend of mine is buried, and I'm not sure who it is that I need to talk to for the information. Hold on, and I'll connect you with the proper department, the operator answered. Aaron waited patiently and listened to the hold music while he waited for the operator to connect him with the person he needed to talk to. After a few minutes of waiting, the music stopped, and a young-sounding voice came on the other end of the line. Veterans Affairs, this is Valerie. Hi, my name is Aaron Johnson. I needed to find out where my friend is buried, and I wanted to know if you could help me out with that. Yes, I can. What was his name? Valerie asked. Staff Sergeant Paul Pablo. Oh, so now it's Pablo. Aaron replied as he held back the hurt in his throat. Where was he last stationed? She asked. In Mosul, Iraq. That's where he was killed also. Okay, just give me a couple minutes while I put you on hold and find that information for you, okay? Okay, thank you. Wait, do they just, give that information out if you call them? Aaron's diet is 60... Oh. We got some news. Okay. Mandy, we got Vidrana, we got Unveiling. All welcome aboard the poop train. Poop poop. But yeah, I gotta ask, because I've never had to call Veterans Affairs to find out where my would-be boyfriend is buried, so I gotta know, do they just hand out that information to just all I gotta do is call him up on the phone and be like, yo, where my buddy at? Where you guys dump his box at? And they'll just be like, yeah, totally. Just let me put you on hold and we'll tell you. J. Rob, welcome aboard the poop train. Poop poop. So Aaron waited patiently and listened to a different song from the hold music than he had heard from the last time he was on hold. He wrote down the words, Paul's grave, on the piece of paper and traced the letters a second time while he waited and thought. Finally, the music stopped and Valerie returned on the line. Hello, Mr. Johnson, Valerie spoke. Yes, Aaron replied. I've located your friend. The computer is telling me that he is buried at Mount Pleasant Cemetery in Huntington, Indiana. That's fucking convenient. That is really convenient. Aaron wrote the information Valerie had given him on the piece of paper in front of him and thanked her for her help. He looked at the information again as he pressed the off button on the phone, took in a deep breath, and then let it out heavily. He walked down the hall to his bedroom, removed his clothes, and got dressed in his military uniform. He stopped by the flower shop on the way and picked up a bouquet of flowers for Paul's grave, along with a couple small American flags to stick on both sides of his headstone. Once he found the cemetery, he parked his car and began walking around in search for Paul's gravestone. After 30 minutes of searching, he found it located at the bottom of the big hill under a maple tree about 30 feet from a stream that ran alongside the cemetery. He placed the bouquet of flowers in front of the headstone, next to some others that someone had left there. Then stabbed the long sticks with the small American flags on them into the ground on either side of the gravestone. After putting the flags in place, he sat down on the grass in front of the headstone. He looked down and plucked a couple strands of grass from the ground, then looked back up at the headstone with his eyes full of tears as he began talking to Paul Stone. I made it home alive, Paul. I wish you were here with me. It'd be really nice to have someone to talk to about what my feelings are inside. I feel like a completely different person. I feel like I'm trapped inside myself, and it's driving me crazy. I try my best to hide it, but I think some people can tell something's wrong with me, especially my mom. It's hard to hide things from her, but I can't talk to her about what I'm feeling either because she didn't go through the things we went through. Nobody can understand that feeling unless they've been there. I'm afraid it might be driving me insane. On my way home from the airport, I swear I saw you standing on the side of the road when we rounded a corner. You were standing there in your uniform, holding a rifle. Kind of threw me when that happened. I'm not sure what it was about or if it was about anything at all, but it lets me know that I may never be normal again. Well, I guess better be heading back home before my mother thinks something's happened to me. I can constantly see how worried she is about me. Goodbye, my friend. Aaron stood up and brushed some loose grass from the seat of his pants, then stood at attention to salute his friend's grave. After letting his arm down, he wiped another tear from his eye, then turned and made his way back to the car. Aaron regained his composure on his way home. He was able to have a good, solid conversation with his mother about how his day was and how her day was. I feel a little better now that I was able to go visit Paul's grave. It's in a nice location, he told her. Oh, that's good. I know you must have had a hard time with it, though, so if you want to talk about anything, you know that I'm here for you, she told him without pressure. She knew it wouldn't do him any good to be pressured into talking about what he was feeling. All it would do is make it harder for him to deal with what he went through and what he was going through. Thank you, Mom, and I appreciate it, but it's too deep for me to talk about right now, he replied with regret. Okay, whenever you feel ready, I'm here, she said, trying to comfort him. Aaron quickly moved the conversation by asking her if she knew what the weather was going to be tomorrow, but before she could answer, the telephone rang. His mother picked the phone up off its base and pressed the talk button. Hello? Hi, Mrs. Johnson, this is Derek. Is Aaron there? He asked. Yes, he is, she answered. Hold on just 1 second. She handed the phone over to Eric. It's Derek, she informed him. Hey, Derek, what's up? Aaron asked his old high school friend. Oh, Aaron, I, wanted to see what you were doing on Friday night. Nothing that I know of right now, Aaron answered. If I set you up on a blind date, would you want to go? I mean, it's not a military man, and it's not a 14-year-old girl, but, it should do in a pinch, right? Derek asked. Yeah, I guess, Aaron replied in response. Good. So, can you be ready by, 8 o'clock? Sure. Good. The girl's name is Brooke. She's 20, and you're going on a double date with me and my girlfriend Amy. Brooke is Amy's friend, Derek explained. Okay, Aaron answered. Alright. I'll, talk to you on Friday and stuff, Derek stated before hanging up his end of the phone. Bye. Aaron pressed the off button on the phone and placed it back on its base. What did he want? Aaron's mother asked. He wanted to know if I wanted to go on a double date with him and his girlfriend Amy and her friend Brooke. Aaron replied to his mom with a smirk. And you going? She asked. Yeah, you didn't have anything special planned for me on Friday night that you didn't tell me about yet, did you? He asked. Nope, I think it's great that you've got a date. I hope you have fun. I'm not gonna have to post bail money for you again like last date, am I? She replied with a smile. Yeah, you're just hoping for grandchildren, huh? He asked jokingly. Maybe. As long as they're not your kids. But whatever you do, make sure the woman you have children with is the one you really want to be with, though, his mother added. And stay away from them junior high schoolers. I will, Mom, but don't worry, I'm not stupid enough to be stuck with just anyone. Aaron smiled at his mom for being so protective of his future, not realizing that eventually he would be trolled into phone sex by a robot. So, we're at chapter 6. And let's see what the chat's going. Aaron never lives on his own. Yeah, that's right. He goes from living with his mom to getting a house with Brooke. And why do I get the feeling that his wake-up juice is like a vial of Paul's jizz that he saved? And yeah, you're just in time for story time. Unveiling. Wake up juice sounds like a glass of Red Bull rimmed with meth. How convenient. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely convenient. This is like watching a snowball roll down a hillside. A girl walked by as the national anthem played. I just can't quit you, Paul, as Aaron mowed down several pedestrians. Don't be giving me no grandchildren on the first date, Aaron, okay? I've already had to deal with that with your brother. Oh. Oh. Little lightheaded there. Hang on. Give me a moment. Chapter 6. Oh god, I hope this is it. I think actually like I think we're gonna get to the sex dream. The sex part. Aaron looked at the digital clock on the nightstand in his bedroom. He read 6:32 p.m. Derek will be here in 1.5 hours to pick me up, so I guess I should get ready now, he told himself. He wasn't really too thrilled about going on a blind date, but he didn't have anything better to do. He pulled some clothes out of his closet and a dresser and took a quick shower. After getting out of the shower, he got dressed, combed his hair, and splashed on a bit of cologne. He still had about 30 minutes to go before Derek was supposed to arrive, so he made himself a couple of hot dogs, brushed his teeth, and then munched on some popcorn while he watched television until Derek showed up. When he saw Derek's headlights shine on the wall through the living room window, he quickly grabbed his wallet and walked out the door, locking it behind him. Striding swiftly to the car, Aaron got in and said hello to Derek as he buckled his safety belt. "Aw, Aaron, how you doing, bro?" Derek asked. "Good. A little nervous. Yeah, I'm not too big on blind dates. I mean, deaf dates are okay, but blind dates, yeah, not so much. I want my dates to be able to see Mr. Penis," he told his friend with a friendly chuckle. Well, you'll be happy to know that Brooke doesn't like blind dates either," Derek informed him. Aaron muttered. "Two people that don't like blind dates. Sounds like a match, huh?" he said with a hint of sarcasm in his voice. Yeah, Derek laughed. It was Amy's idea." "Oh, sure, blame it on the girlfriend," Aaron joked. Yeah? Just don't tell her that. I could get in trouble for it," Derek responded. "Sounds like good blackmail material," Aaron thought, still joking. "Gee, thanks. By the way, I, don't have any money in the bank, so if you, blackmail me and stuff, make sure you want something small and worthless, like a $10 watch from Walmart." "I'm guessing that the girls are at Amy's house?" Aaron asked. Yeah. I think you'll like Brooke. She's a really nice girl," Derek said, trying to ease Aaron's nervousness. "Good," Aaron said, feeling better, knowing that Derek had held a high praise for his blind date. They pulled into Amy's driveway, got out of the car, and walked to the front door, where Eric was greeted by Amy with a kiss, and then she greeted Aaron with a handshake and a hello. Amy ushered them to the kitchen, still holding Derek's hand, where Brooke stood waiting to be formally introduced to Aaron. Aaron's mouth dropped open as he caught his first look at Brooke, and he had to catch himself so he didn't give any hint of losing his cool with his first impression. But he thought that she was completely beautiful, and he noticed that she hadn't taken her eyes off him either. That's a good sign, he thought to himself. He was able to move his eyes off Brooke when the sound of Amy's voice jerked him from his unexpected trance. Not trans. Is there something about Brooke that Lorne isn't telling us here? Because he writes his unexpected trans. Well, I'm glad that even during these days, Lorne was a was a forward thinker. Aaron reached his hand out to shake Brooke's hand, and he felt the rush of heat flow from her soft hand into his body. She's beautiful, he thought as he struggled to say hello to her. Brooke was a slight overweight, but Aaron didn't notice that right away because he was caught up in the beauty of her face with her big brown eyes with long, thick lashes, beautiful, soft, straight blonde hair, and dimples so precious that when she smiled, it made Aaron hear his own heartbeat and smell puppies. She was about 3 inches shorter than Aaron's 5'8", which was good because Aaron wasn't attracted to women that was taller than himself. For the record, I totally am. I mean, if you're taller than 6'1", I am. I'll give you. I might give you. I'll give you a glance. I'll give you a glance. She slid his hand from hers when Derek's voice interrupted his brain this time. We ready to go? Derek asked. I'm ready if the ladies are, Aaron answered, trying to impress Brooke by putting the ladies first to make the decision of when to go. We're ready, Amy answered for herself and Brooke. Aaron and Derek escorted Amy and Brooke out to the car and opened the doors for them, then walked around to the other side and climbed in themselves. The night moved along as they went out to eat, to see a movie, and then to a dance club. Aaron was happy to find out that Brooke only liked slow dances because he couldn't dance fancy dances very well, and it gave him a reason to hold her close to him and get to know her better with one-on-one conversation. They were both happy to learn all that they had in common. Like, what, Lorne? No, like, again, it's just like the Iraq war, the stuff about the Iraq war thing. These are details that readers kind of want to know. These are details that readers want to know. Like, they want to know, like, what, like, we want to know, what movie did you go see? Where did you go eat? What was the conversation? What all do you have in common? Like, what was it like? Oh, you like men? Well, as it happens, I'm a man. Oh, you like food? Well, I like food. I love movies. Holy shit, movies are awesome. Like, what do they have in common? Because you aren't telling us. You're telling us that they have a lot. They have a lot in common, but you're not telling us what they are. By the end of the night, Aaron and Brooke had happily agreed on a second date and exchanged phone numbers before she gave him a kiss on the cheek and parted ways. Derek and Aaron talked on the way to dropping Aaron off at home. Thank you for thinking about asking me to go on a date with her before asking anyone else, Aaron said to his friend. You're like, very welcome, Derek replied. So, two got another date with each other, huh? Yep, a week from tomorrow, Aaron answered. Where are you gonna take her? Derek inquired. She said she liked roller skating, so I told her we could do that, even though I'd probably spend most of my time on my butt. Derek laughed. Ha ha ha! Well, maybe she'll take pity on you and, like, hold your hand, like your mom used to, and you get that funny feeling in your pants. Oh, don't think I didn't forget about that. I'm riffing right now, and even I am doing a better job of portraying their friendship than Lorne has. That's what I'm hoping for, Aaron cajoled. Derek pulled into Aaron's driveway, and the two shook hands and said goodbye before Aaron got out of the car and closed the door, then watched his friend drive away before entering the house. He turned after closing the door behind him and walked to the kitchen, where he found a note left on the table for him by his mother. He smiled because his mother had always left notes for him on the table when he was in school, and he enjoyed that memory. He picked up the note and read it. Oh, Aaron, there's some ham, potatoes, and peas on a plate in the refrigerator for you in case you're hungry when you get home from your date. Leave me a note to let me know how your date went, and I'll let you sleep in tomorrow. If you don't leave me a note, then I'm going to wake you so that I can find out and hear all about it. I love you, Mom. Aaron smiled and flipped the paper over to write his mother a note about his date like she asked him to. Mom, my date was realfy good. No, seriously, realfy. R-E-A-L-F-Y. Realfy. New word for y'all, little baggies. I have another date with her next Saturday night. We'll tell you all about it when I wake up. I love you, Aaron. He sat the pen down, walked to the refrigerator, and pulled out the plate of food his mother had left for him. After peeling the plastic wrap off the plate, he slid it in the microwave to warm it up. He poured himself a tall glass of milk while his food was heating up, and he set it on the table. When the beeper sounded on the microwave, he retrieved his plate of food, sat down, and ate. He replayed the events of his blind date with Brooke in his mind as he scarfed down his food. I really liked this girl, he decided to himself in a whispered voice. I hope it works out with her. He finished his food, downed his glass of milk, and set his plate in the sink before retiring to bed. It was the first time in a long time that he had been able to go to bed without thinking about something from the war. Aaron woke up at 8 the next morning to the smell of his mom cooking sausage, biscuits, and gravy for breakfast, and heard the sound of the coffee pot brewing a fresh, weak hot pot of coffee. He slowly sat up in his bed and rubbed the sleep from his eyes, and then looked around the room for his clothes. After sliding on his pants and slipping into his slippers, he pulled a clean t-shirt from his dresser drawer, threw it on over himself, and went out into the kitchen, where he greeted his mother with a kiss on the cheek and a polite, "Good morning." "Boy, the smirk on your face, I'm guessing that you really like this girl, huh?" His mother asked with a, you can't hide your feelings look on her face. "Yeah, I like her a lot," he replied as he smiled at his mother's remark. "Well, then tell me about her," she ordered with a smile on her face. He obeyed and began telling her about the night as he poured his cup of weak coffee. He told her about having a second date with her the next weekend and what she looked like. They talked about her while they ate their breakfast, and then before they knew it, they had finished the whole pot of coffee, and it was almost noontime. So it literally took them 4 hours to eat breakfast. Yes! Unveiling! He gives more details about the plate of fucking food than the date. It's like how he gave more details about the ride home from the airport after Iraq than he actually gave about Iraq. All Lorne thinks about is coffee. Coffee and teenagers. Cybersqueak. Coffee and teenagers. I imagine he's banned from like every Starbucks in Cornville at this point. But anyway. But yeah, they took them 4 hours to eat breakfast. "I've been sitting here talking with you about Brooke all morning." Oh, hang on. Yeah. Oh, yeah, okay. "I've been sitting here talking with you about Brooke all morning, and I haven't gotten any of my housework done. I better get started on it before the day is over and it's time for bed again." His mother pet him on the arm and then got up and began doing her housework while Aaron finished his cup of coffee and thought about what he was going to do for the rest of the day. After about 15 minutes of contemplating, he decided he'd give his car a good cleaning and then wash and wax it. He didn't want to be taking Brooke out on a date in a dirty car. "Yeah, I don't believe she'd be too impressed with me if I picked her up with my car looking as messy as it does right now." Wait, he's only like... has he ever actually driven in it yet? Did his mom not clean up his car while he was in Iraq? I mean, she had time to like... She had time to redo his bedroom so it looks like he's sleeping in an American flag, but can't clean out his car while he's gone. Anyway, he thought as he set his empty coffee cup on the counter by the kitchen sink. It was only 3:30 in the afternoon when he finished his car, so he decided to go over to his sister Kelly's house and see his new nephew Hayden that Kelly had when he was overseas in Iraq. He called her to make sure she was going to be home, then headed over. When he arrived, he found his brother-in-law Josh and his older nephew. Blake playing pass with the baseball out on the... So, I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing about no baseball. I mean, I've only been playing it since I was like 5, but you don't play. I'm pretty sure you don't play pass with a baseball. I think it's you play catch. You pass a football, you pitch and catch a baseball. But anyway, he stepped out of the car and closed the door just in time to catch his nephew jumping up into his arms. "Uncle Aaron!" Blake shouted in an excited voice as he wrapped his arms around Aaron in a death grip hug. Aaron smiled as he bared with a long choking hug. And bared, by the way, spelled B-A-R-E-D. Like, he bared a long choking hug. You know, like baring fangs. "Hi, Blake. I missed you too, kiddo." Aaron strained the words as he tried cope with the bear hug. Aaron released his arms as he drew back and looked at his uncle in a hero worship kind of way. "How long can you stay here?" he asked. "For a little while," Aaron replied as he set Blake back on dirt driveway. "Cool. Mom's inside with Hayden. He's only 6 months old, so Mom says he has to stay inside where it's cool," Blake spat out. "That's right. Don't want him to get a sunburn," Aaron said as he looked away from his nephew and reached out his hand to his brother-in-law to shake it as he approached. Wait, so they don't have, like, can it be, like, bassinets, or they don't have, like, little bonnets that they can... Yeah, he also gave zero description of his time in the mental facility. And yeah, Juan Soto had some great passing stats last year, and Manny Machado had 3 touchdowns. Oh yeah, and and I was gonna say, like, Justin Verlander was like really awesome at rushing from the line of scrimmage, and he was also like, I believe he was like the best 3-point shooter on the Astros. Lorne would totally give his baby sunburn. I mean, what do his baby? I mean, do they just like leave their baby like just in diapers or something? Like, but anyway. "Hi, Josh." "Hey, Aaron. How's it feel to be home?" Josh asked. "Feels good. Different, but good," he replied. "Blake, why don't you lead the way to show Uncle Aaron your new baby brother?" Josh ordered. "Maybe he'll come out and play pass with us for a little bit before he leaves, too." Blake obeyed and looked up at Aaron. "Will you play pass with us before you leave Uncle Aaron?" "Yes, I will." Aaron smiled and ruffled Blake's hair. "Cool," Blake exhausted as he jumped up and down. "Cool," Blake exhausted as he jumped up and down. Published author Lorne Armstrong, ladies and gentlemen. Published author Lorne Lynn Armstrong. "Kelly is probably in the kitchen cooking supper. She'll be happy to see you," Josh explained. "She's been wondering when you would come over to visit us, so she was happy with you. She was happy when you called to let her know you were coming." Blake opened the entrance door, and Aaron and Josh followed him inside. Aaron stopped Blake and put his finger to his lips in signal for shh. He then walked past Blake, past spelled P-A-S-S-E-D. Oh, is that what they're talking about when they play pass? He then walked past Blake, moving through the living room, and then slowly and quietly moved toward the kitchen where he could hear his sister moving dishes about and talking to the baby. He peeked, P-E-A-K-D, K-E-D, Lorne peeked in high school. He peeked around the corner to see where she was standing. Lorne peeked in high school. Erin peeked around a corner. She was standing with her back to him, so he moved and stood in the kitchen doorway, then purposely made a throat-clearing noise. He could tell he succeeded in surprising her when she jumped and spun around at the sudden and unexpected sound. Like, oh my God, Erin! She yelled as she walked briskly over to give him a tight hug with one arm and held the baby in the other. Like, how long have you been standing here? She asked with a smile on her face. Not long. How's my new nephew doing? He asked as she put his finger to the baby's chin. Like, he's being such a little brat today, but he doesn't even want to be put down, she answered. Erin reached his hands out to take his little nephew, Hayden, away from Kelly. Let me hold him for a bit. Give your arms a break. Gladly, she replied with a sigh of relief that someone had rescued her arms from the feeling of wanting to fall off from the strain of continuously holding the baby. Erin pulled the baby close to him as the baby stared in surprise of the new person that was now holding him. Erin flipped the baby's nose with his finger and said, Boink! Hayden gave Erin a comical little giggle when he pulled his finger back. I wouldn't make him giggle. Oh. I wouldn't make him, giggle too hard, Erin. He's liable to pee on you, any time. Oh my God, Kelly explained. Oh yeah, I just realized he doesn't have a diaper on under his outfit. So not only do they not have Eel. Welcome aboard the poop train. Boop boop. But so let me see if I've got this one straight again. They don't have any way to protect the baby from the sun. And they don't have diapers for him. They just let him piss and shit wherever. That's cool. That is some top-notch parenting right there. Parents of the fucking year award right there. The poo-choo train, baby. Yeah. I just need to have Josh, go to the store for me. I just realized about 15 minutes ago that I was out of them. So, y'all didn't have the fucking foresight to be oh my God, we're almost out of diapers. Hey, Josh, could you, go to the store for me and pick up some diapers so our baby can shit? Again, parents of the year. And Kelly said as she gave a knowing look toward her husband so she wouldn't have to ask him again later. You should have asked me to pick some up on my way here, Erin scolded. Gag me with a spoon. I would have if I would have known at the time, but like I said, I just realized it about 15 minutes ago, Kelly replied. Oh, I see. Do you want to stay for dinner? Kelly asked as she began preparing the evening meal. Erin gave it a couple of... Wait. And this is in quotes. Erin gave it a couple of moments' consideration, then asked, How long before it's ready? About an hour. Why? Do you, have a date? Kelly asked with a smirk on her face. So I see you've talked to Mom, huh? He cajoled. Yup. She told me about your new girlfriend. She's not my girlfriend yet, Erin replied with a smile. She will be, though. She said yes to a second date, so you, totally will be, Kelly said, believing her point was justified. So, is that a yes to staying for dinner? Kelly reached for an answer. Yeah, I guess so, he answered. What are we having? We're having ham, baked potatoes, and corn on the cob. They eat a lot of ham in that family. There's a lot of pig eating. A lot of pig eating going on. China uses crotchless potty training pants sans diapers. Apparently it works. I mean, I don't know, but like it just I mean maybe, but I mean judging from what little I actually know about raising babies. I say this as a man who has never raised a baby in his entire life, and at this stage in my life, probably never will. I would like I'd want to keep the I'd want to keep the diapers stocked, like at all times. But yeah. Aaron and his family, they eat a lot of ham. But okay, but back to the story. So Aaron replies, "Sounds good. Doesn't this little guy have a problem chewing on the ham, though?" He asked jokingly. Ha ha ha! Kelly smiled. He gets that mushy stuff in the jar that says, in that little jar that says Gerber on it. You know, as opposed to the little jar that says, like, rat poison on it. Although, you know, judging from what I've just learned about these guys, I'm pretty sure that if it didn't say, like, Gerber, like, she probably would feed this baby something out of a jar that says rat poison without realizing. And wait, it's 6 months old, and you're already feeding him puree? So, I mean, I do remember when my sisters were babies, because I was, you know, I was like 11 and 13 when they were born, respectively. So, yeah, they have to label the baby food so the kid doesn't die. They probably have to like label like the sink and the toilet so that they don't like drop dukes in the sink or the bathtub. like they have a big sign saying toilet, poop here. Sink, wash hands here. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you, Eel. So far this is completely pointless. I mean, I guess that they're like, again, there's more detail in this pointless fucking interaction with his sister and brother-in-law than his time in Iraq, his time in the mental institution, all of that. We didn't need to know any of that, but we really need to know about this fucking amazing, gripping, surely would be award-winning clip if it were made into a movie. Interaction with his sister and her family. But anyway, back to the baby food thing. You know, my dad and stepmom, they didn't get my sisters on a baby food until they were like 7-8 months old. Like, but okay, so Aaron, back to the story. Sorry, Aaron inquired, "Want me to feed him for you right now, or does he eat at the same time we do?" Aaron inquired. "Well, if you want to feed him right now, you can. And then maybe you can rock him to sleep and we can, like, talk over dinner and stuff without the interruption of the baby," Kelly answered as she plopped the corn on the cob into the big kettle full of water. "Okay," Aaron agreed. "Where's his bib?" "Blake, would you get Uncle Aaron a bib from, like, the baby drawer, please?" Kelly asked her son. "Uncle Aaron, I thought you said you'd play pass with us before you left," Blake asked on his way to the baby drawer. "If we don't get to play pass this time, then the next time I come over, we'll play, okay?" Aaron responded to his nephew. "Promise?" Blake asked with an innocent look that only a child can hold. That slightly made Aaron feel a little... Blake asked with an innocent look that only a child can hold, which made Aaron's pants just 3 sizes tighter that day. I promise, Aaron returned. With this set up here, Aaron, like, you'll have all the practice you need for when you have kids. Brooke would be, like, so impressed to see you right now, Kelly said with a smile. Cute, Aaron said as he smiled back at his sister. He went about feeding the baby until the little jar was completely empty. Even though a lot of the food landed on Aaron in the bib, he was still amazed at how much the little tyke could fit into his stomach. After Aaron finished feeding Hayden, Kelly cleaned him up and let Aaron rock him to sleep. Once the baby was asleep, Aaron was able to slip out, unexpectedly to Blake, and play pass. Blake was thrilled about all 3 of them playing pass together. Once dinner was ready, Kelly beckoned to them to come wash up for dinner. They talked with Aaron during dinner, mostly about Brooke and his plans for staying in the military or getting out. Aaron had been undecided before, but the army was pressing him to get out because they didn't think it would be good for him to stay in after what happened to him in Iraq. See, now this is how I know right the fuck here that Lorne has never seen combat. And certainly not during the Iraq War. Okay, so Medusa verifies, 8-ish month is average food introduction age. And she does know, Medusa knows way too much about this shit. Believe me, she pretty much raised her siblings' kids, so she knows. And J-Rob, my niece is 8 months. Wait, no, 6 months. Okay, so can you verify? Are you guys feeding her? Are you guys feeding the niece baby food already at 6 months? And yes, Aaron and Brooke had one date, and his family is already planning his family lineage. Watched a bad Christmas movie in which all the side characters care too much about the lady's relationship. I bet Lorne wrote it. Was it a Hallmark Christmas movie? But, yeah. Trust me. The army would be pushing for him to return to Iraq. Like, he'd be like, oh, hey, sorry to hear, like, at this point, like, during the Iraq War, it was like, the army was like, yeah, sorry about your incredible PTSD and, like, all the shrapnel you've got in your brain, but, listen, we gotta redeploy you, bro. Now, after meeting Brooke, Aaron could feel his thoughts leaning toward getting out. He stayed a couple more hours after dinner and visited, then decided he'd better go home. He wanted to go and visit his little brother the next day, and he wanted to wake up early to do it and surprise him. Oh my god. That was an absolutely fucking pointless chapter. That was pointless. My god. I mean, I guess, like, you know, I'm not going to say, you know, I'm not going to lie, you know, writing, you know, not all chapters or anything like that really have to push the story along. Like, it's okay to, like, have some chapters where you just sit and, like, you know, explore characters and have conversations and stuff like that don't further the plot. The problem is he is so bad at it. He is so fucking bad at dialogue. My god. And I can say this, though. I mean, it has to be said. Writing character dialogue is one of the harder things to do as a writer. It is really hard to write, like, to write character interactions and make them sound authentic. It's not easy. For me, it's kind of in the it's in the imperfections that people make when they talk. Like, if you can capture those in the writ, you know, if you can write that out, then you've come a long way. But anyway, all right, chapter 7. It was almost 9:30 p.m. when Aaron walked in the door and found his mother sitting on the couch watching TV and enjoying a bowl of popcorn and a cup of tea. "Hi, Mom. I didn't know if you'd still be awake or not," Aaron spoke as he moved to the kitchen sink for a glass of water. "Yep, but not for much longer. Did you have a good time over at Kelly's?" she asked. "Yes, I did. The baby's cute," he answered. "Brooke called while you were gone," his mother informed him with a broad smile. Aaron looked at his mother surprisingly. "What did she say?" She said she just called to talk so that you two could get to know each other better. She said you could call her back tomorrow night if you want to. She sounded nice." His mother said to encourage him to call her back. "She's very nice." Aaron emphasized the words when he spoke them. "I want to get up early and go surprise Brady. Don't worry about making breakfast for me. I'll go grab something at McDonald's. Good night." He kissed his mother on the cheek and found his way down the dimly lit hall to his bedroom and retired to bed. After taking a quick wake-up shower the next morning, he drove over to surprise his little brother. He stayed for a few hours visiting and catching up on things with him, then went back home. He didn't have any other plan. You mean we're not going to get a chapter about that's all about his entire conversation with Brady? He didn't have any other plans for the day, so he decided to clean the house for his mother. She was happy to see a clean house when she got home from work, so she could just sit down and relax for a change. Around 7 o'clock, after eating dinner, Aaron called Brooke and they talked on the phone for about 2 hours. He was amazed that the more he talked to her, the more he really liked her. Most girls have scared him off by calling him. But she was different. Or maybe it was him who was a different person from the person he used to be. He played with that thought and then tossed it aside after realizing it didn't really matter. He liked Brooke a lot, and that's all he cared about. The week went by fast, and before Aaron knew it, it was Saturday. He remained nervous all day about his date with Brooke. But once he picked her up and they started talking, Aaron never even thought about his nerves and was completely comfortable around Brooke all night. He felt better when she mentioned how comfortable he made her feel also. They had gone roller skating at Roller King skating rink, and Aaron had a great time. Especially when Brooke held his hands on the couple's turn only and pretended to slip and fall so she could get closer to Aaron. She nearly knocked him over too, but with the help of the railing being there, he was able to recover himself quickly, even with Brooke's added weight against him. When the last song played, it was for couples only, and Brooke skated backwards with Aaron, skating with a little more confidence than he had when the night had started. He slowed them both purposely and backed her up against the wall and gave her their first kiss. She welcomed it with her eyes closed, and the heat between them grew. She drew back and pushed him slowly backward and then led them both over to the bench, smiling broadly all the way. Once Aaron got his skates off, he stood and stumbled to a pole to catch himself after taking his first step. The hours of having the wheels attached to his feet had thrown his equilibrium off, and the fumbling had... Wait, so you skated the entire hour? All those hours? Dude, when I used to go to the roller rink, I mean, honestly, I spent most of my time not fucking roller skating because me and my friends were, smoking weed in the bathroom or playing video games. But the point is, we did have a lot of time where we took those skates off. That shit's uncomfortable. And the fumbling made him feel embarrassed. He turned and admired the dimples on Brooke's cheeks as she laughed at his clumsiness in walking, stumbling, and clutching the pole. I bet Aaron did a lot of clutching the pole in preparation for this date, if you know what I mean. Ayo! She picked up her skates, walked up to him, and took his hand in hers. "Come on, I'll catch you if you fall," she said with a flirty sarcasm that he found exciting. He smiled at her comment and asked, "You promise?" "Yes," she retorted. "If you're good," she returned with a wink. Aaron pulled into the driveway of Brooke's house and turned the car off. "Oh, hang on. I got it. I gotta do it. Gotta do it. I gotta find something here. I gotta find something. Here we go. Yeah! Aaron pulled into the driveway of Brooke's house and turned the car off. They slowly walked hand in hand until they reached her door, where she turned to stand face to face with him. As she glared into his eyes... Wait. Do you glare into someone's eyes if you're horny? Like, I'm pretty Oh, anyway. As she glared into his eyes, he moved his hand to cup the nape of her neck and moved his mouth to meet hers. They kissed passionately for a long, heated moment that made her whole body tingle with want. She couldn't think and he couldn't breathe. Her tongue exploring the inside of his mouth made him forget how to breathe. She didn't know if she fell into him or if he had pulled her to him, but she had to somehow regain control of herself so that he didn't end up in her bed after only the second date. Then the phone rang inside her house and she was able to push back away from him and give him a melting smile as she slid her hand slowly out of his and asked, "Call me tomorrow?" "Okay." "No! You don't cockblock! I had the porn music going and everything!" "You are... Lorne Lynn Armstrong, you are teasing my cock!" "You are teasing my cock!" I'm sorry, my cock. So, "Call me tomorrow?" "Okay," he agreed. She gave him one last little peck on the lips and said, "Good night, Aaron." "Good night, Brooke." He waited for her to get inside her house and closed the door before returning to his car, smiling all the way. Things were going great with Brooke, and he was ecstatic about it. I'm guessing that this whole relationship with Brooke is going to be like a key focus of the story so far, and you've really glossed over a lot here. I could have stand to know more about the date. Like, what did they talk about? What type of music was playing at the roller rink? Did they do anything else besides skate? Like, Lorne! What the hell, man? Aaron couldn't get the glowing look off his face, even by the time morning came around. He woke up with a smell of ham, eggs... Is that all he fucking eats is ham? No. I'm gonna call fuckery on this. Ever since he returned home, all this man has been eating is fucking ham. His family is aware that there are other meat sources that exist in the world. They could be having fish, maybe lox and bagels with coffee. There's beef. There's fucking insects. You could be eating insects right now. Some ranch-flavored grasshoppers, which are actually surprisingly better than you would think. Sorry, I'm ranting and raving. Back to the story. I apologize. I'm sorry, baggies. But anyway, he woke up with a smell of ham, eggs, and coffee drifting across his nose. He lifted himself out of bed and threw some shorts and a tank top on and made his way to the kitchen in his slippered feet, greeting his mom with a drowsy, "Good morning." "Good morning back to you," she replied. "By the looks of your face, you and Brooke had a good time last night," she said in assumption and sarcasm. "How can you tell by the look on my face?" he asked. "Well, you smirk for one thing, and the lipstick smudges that are all over your lips could have helped my estimation a bit," she retorted with a grin. Aaron's face grew red with embarrassment. "I'll be right back. Oh my god, I forgot to wash my face! My face!" he said with a red face and a smile. He noticed his mother's grin grow as he turned to make his way to the bathroom to wash Brooke's lipstick off his face. When he returned, he indulged himself in the perfectly cooked breakfast with his mother and then talked with her about his date with Brooke while they drank their coffee. "So, Aaron, did you, remember to poke holes in the condom like I told you to? Your mother's not getting any younger." And I'm a barren wasteland down there, so you gotta keep the family lineage going. Over the next couple of months, Aaron and Brooke spent more and more time with each other and became very close. Aaron had brought Brooke to meet his mom, his sister Kelly and her family, and his brother Brady and his girlfriend. Aaron could tell his feelings for Brooke was growing very strong when he started calling her in the middle of the day just to talk to her. Then the night came when they both could no longer contain their feelings for each other and lost themselves in the heat of passion. A month after their first time of lovemaking, Aaron took Brooke to A month after their first time of lovemaking, Aaron took Brooke to a fancy romantic restaurant. Lorne clearly has no idea how dating works. You're supposed to take them to the fancy romantic restaurant like a month before the first time of lovemaking. Or, if you're me, you take your future wife out to see Mortal Kombat Annihilation before the first time of lovemaking. Don't be me, little baggies. Don't be me. After they were finished eating, Aaron took her to a pier. Wait, what? No! You cannot do this to us, Lorne. You spent like maybe a chapter and a half on Aaron and Brooke's growing relationship. And we are already at the proposal stage. Now, can you, when on the timeline did this happen? Like, did it happen like after the first time of lovemaking? Did it happen after the romantic restaurant, which occurred a month after the lovemaking? Help a brother out, Lorne. Help me out, because you're melting my fucking brain, man. But anyway, yeah, so after they were finished... Oh, no, it was... So a month... Nope, we got it. A month after the first time of lovemaking, Aaron took Brooke to a fancy romantic restaurant. And then after that, after they finished, Aaron took her to a pier, got down on his knees, and he proposed to her. Brooke had already... back to the story. Back to it. Brooke had already known almost from the time that her and Aaron first met that he was the one she wanted to marry. She let him slide the engagement ring on her hand after she said yes, then gave him a hug. Then gave him a long, mind-losing kiss that led them back to her house. When Aaron turned around to leave after kissing Brooke goodnight, she gripped his hand tightly and pulled him back to her. She wrapped her arms around his neck. Nope. You are not going to block my cock this time, Lorne. You will not. When Aaron turned around to leave after kissing Brooke goodnight, she gripped his hand tightly and pulled him back to her. She wrapped his arms around his neck and pressed her firm breast against his chest, and then explored the cleft of his lip with her tongue, moving her tongue slowly along the rim of his lower lip, then pulled him into her house, closed and locked the door behind them. "I see no reason why you can't spend the night here tonight," Brooke exclaimed. "Are you sure you want to do this? After all, you're an engaged woman now," Aaron said sarcastically. Hang on. "I've never been more sure of anything in my life," she said as she led him to her bedroom. Once she turned the one dim light on that sat on her nightstand, she returned herself to his embrace and began exploring the inside of his mouth with her tongue again. finding each other getting more lost in the moment. The fires inside them began to grow hotter as they lost their clothes and climbed under the covers of the queen-sized bed. He slid his hand between her breast and down to her navel, then gently back up and slowly... I'm sorry! It's the music! Sorry. Then gently back up and slowly brushed his thumb against her already hardened nipple. The contact made her let out a heavy exhale, and he traced the V in her neck with his tongue, then began moving it toward her left breast. She memorized the form of the muscles in his back as she let his tongue and hands take their freedom of exploring her body. She moaned when he moved his hand to the core of her. As his fingers thrust back and forth, her inner heat grew and expelled a dampness between her thighs that she had never before experienced to this extent. Her body was crying out for his manhood with every pleasurable stroke his fingers made. He removed his fingers gently from her core and feathered them back up to her right nipple and pulled his body on top of hers. He felt her heavy erotic breath on her face as his erection brushed her wet center. Then she let out a gentle moan as he entered her body. Her moans grew into cries with every strong inward push he threw her, until the final cry of passionate release and satisfaction came from them both. Aaron rolled over to relieve her body of his weight. She laid her head upon his chest and muttered, "I love you," to Aaron. He returned with, "I love you too," as she rested her hand on his right bicep and fell asleep for the night. You know what's something, baggies? I need a cigarette after that. I need a fucking cigarette. Yeah! That's right. Oh, 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 oh. And you know what? If my mom were teasing me about getting laid, I would throw up. I would throw up a little in my mouth and probably be like, you know what? I'm moving back in with Dad. Yeah, and yes, this proves that he's never actually been on a date. Like, he, went out to, his idea of dates is going out to a bar and playing pool with a bar floozy until she, passes out in the alley behind the bar while sucking on his cock. And yes, they already had sex, so why wasn't this written as the first sex scene? Thank you, Cyber Squeak. Oh, this makes oh God. This makes Cybersqueak, this makes me feel better about the erotica I've written. You know, this makes me feel better about the erotica that I've written too, and my erotica mostly centered around WCW wrestling and Thundercats. Don't ask. Don't fucking ask. And he wrote this while he was in prison for a sex crime. That just makes it even better. Even better. Oh, God. Medusa, for once I wish the power had gone out. I regret listening to this. I almost regret reading it. I don't, but I kind of do. It's hard to explain. I've built up this weird dichotomy in my brain. Anyway, the next morning, Brooke opened her eyes and found her... I need a cigarette after that, but not for the reason you think. Actually, no, I need a fucking bong rip. That's a smoke break. And then we'll continue. Hang on. My fucking God, though. Let that permeate into your chakras, little baggies. Yeah, wait. He reached. Wait. Hang on. When he, yeah, Cybersqueak. She moaned when he moved his hand to the core of her. Wait, so is he? And then as his fingers thrust back and forth on her core, so like he's poking her abs, and she's like, "Oh God, I am so wet, Aaron. Do me, Aaron. Oh God, my abs." My one weakness. Yes, keep poking. Oh, get my belly button. Get my belly button, Aaron. Oh! Oh, God! Oh, my God! You are the manliest of men, Aaron. I mean, Lorne. Look, I mean, Aaron. What? I don't know anymore. All right. The next morning, Brooke opened her eyes and found herself contently wrapped around Aaron's body. She hated to remove herself from his unconscious embrace, but did so very easily, so not to wake him. She flung her robe around her naked body and tied the rope securely. She stood there for a moment and stared at the diamond engagement ring on her finger and felt the warmth of love emanating inside of her. A broad smile came across her face as she stood in front of the mirror staring at herself and the ring as Aaron's arms pulled her body close to his from behind. This is a really short courtship, so I'm half convinced at this point that Brooke is a dependopotamus. He kissed her ear gently and led her back to the bed, where he removed her robe and made love to her before their day began. Aaron sat at the table. Thank God. I mean, I was all ready to cue the porn lounge, but I'm in a way I'm glad that I'm grateful that we didn't get another like Lorne sex scene here. Aaron sat at the table and drank his coffee as he watched Brooke moving about the kitchen making breakfast for the two of them. He wondered to himself how he had gotten so lucky to be paired with a woman that he could feel so much for. An inner smile grew as he took another sip of the hot coffee. He was finally happy and content, he concluded. He had finally found what his life was all about in the woman he was sharing his time with right now. No, don't write that, Lorne. That means she's gonna fucking die. She's gonna die and you're gonna have to go on a blood-soaked revenge journey. I'm calling it right here. After finishing their breakfast, they decided to drive to Aaron's mother's house and give her the news. She was so pleased that Aaron had chosen Brooke and that Brooke had accepted his proposal. She called Aaron's sister Kelly and told her the news, and Kelly had come over at once. She then shooed Aaron out of the house as she, Brooke, and Kelly began making plans. This is already starting to kind of sound like a shotgun wedding. Aaron told Brooke that she could do whatever she wanted for the wedding, and if she wanted his opinion on anything, then to just call him on his cell phone. So now I'm imagining like some scenario where like they're laying in bed together, and Brooke picks up the phone and calls Aaron to be like, hey, listen, so I know we're like right next to each other in bed, and you just fingered my belly button again, but so listen, I was thinking like we could go for like a goth wedding, and we like hold it at a mausoleum or a graveyard. We could maybe play some Bauhaus. What do you think, Aaron? I'm just spitballing here. You could have your buddy Paul as the best man. What do you think? Brooke had called Amy to have her come over also and help start planning the wedding. Seeing as how it was Amy and Derek that put Aaron and Brooke together. Brooke also wanted Amy to be your maid of honor. Aaron went over to his sister Kelly's house to help his brother-in-law with the kids while the females were at his mother's house beginning the plans for the wedding. Aaron received a call from Brooke around 6 that evening on his cell phone. "Hi, honey," Brooke greeted. "Hi," Aaron returned. "Your mother asked me, Kelly, and Amy to stay the night here with her, so I thought you might want to know, because Kelly wants to know if you'll stay there and help Josh with the kids," Brooke explained. "I don't know. Sounds like you ladies might be having too much fun there," he said sarcastically. "Oh, we are," she replied. "I'm having a great time." Aaron could hear the love and happiness in her voice, and it melted him to the core. "Dude, maybe you should finger your core. It'll make you feel better." "Okay, call me when you wake up tomorrow morning and I'll come back over." "Okay, have a good night and I love you," she said, then ended with a phone kiss. "Okay, I love you too. Bye." Aaron hung up the phone and gave his brother-in-law a look that said, "You are not going to believe what I'm about to tell you." But before he could say anything, Josh asked, "What are they doing over there?" "Well," Aaron started, "looks like it's us guys here at your house tonight. My mom asked all the girls to stay the night there, so we're stuck here. Kelly said she'll call the kids to say goodnight before they go to sleep." "That would figure," Josh retorted. "Get women together for an event like this, and you can't separate them until the event is over." Okay, I'm going to break in here. I'm going to break in, little baggies. So, So he goes to his family and announces that he proposed and she accepted, and they have already fucking like gone straight to the wedding planning. No, so this is a shotgun wedding. I'm sure Lorne, I'm sure it happened off panel, but Brooke is probably already 4 months pregnant with Aaron's baby daddy, with Aaron's love child. And those army benefits are just going to roll right in. Aaron agreed with Josh as they both threw out a grin. "If it were up to me, we would have just gone to the Justice of the Peace and gotten married, but I know that Brooke has always dreamed of a nice wedding, so who am I to deprive her of that?" he stated. "That's true. I know your sister loved planning our wedding. She didn't want me to make any decisions without her knowledge. I got a kick out of it and just agreed with her all the way through the planning of it. I thought it would all work out better that way," Josh informed as he fell back in his memory. Wow. That's kind of a that's not a very good way of going about wedding planning. I mean, I was pretty involved with my wedding, well, kind of. My mother-in-law kind of took most of it over, but... And by the way, that tangent I went off on about the goth wedding, that was totally what my wife and I were going to do if her mother hadn't stepped in. "Well, this means we're going to have to do our own cooking tonight. Do you trust me to cook while you take care of the baby?" Aaron asked. "Not hardly," Josh replied. "We'll order pizza." "Good choice. I'm afraid my own cooking, much less having my nephew or brother-in-law taking a risk with their lives eating it," Aaron returned. Josh laughed at Aaron's joke about his own ability to cook as he picked up the phone and dialed the number to order the pizza. "Oh, that was a joke. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Here, let me reread that. Good choice. I'm afraid my own cooking, much less having my nephew or brother-in-law taking a risk with their lives eating it. Ha ha! There. Now it's funny. Because I did the ha ha at the end. By the time the pizza had arrived, Josh had already fed the baby and laid him in the crib for the night, and he fell fast asleep. Aaron, Josh, and Blake had set up the Hungry Hippo game in the middle of the table and continued to play it while they ate their pizza and drank their sodas. Kelly had called near the end of the game to say goodnight to Blake and her husband and to reassure Blake that she would be home in the morning. After hanging up the phone, the three guys finished their game and the pizza and retired for the night. Josh pulled a sheet, pillow, and blanket out of the pantry in the hall and set them on the couch for Aaron to use. After retreating to his room, Aaron spread the sheet and blanket out on the couch, crawled under them, and adjusted the pillow to where his head could rest comfortably. He laid there for about an hour reminiscing about the night before when he held the woman of his dreams in his arms. Slowly, he slid into a deep, soundless sleep. Somewhere in the middle of the night, Aaron began turning in his sleep. He was having a dream about something that was haunting him. It was easy to see. He sat up straight and woke himself up from his sleep after yelling, "No!" Josh came running barefoot and in his pajamas from the bedroom to see what was going on and found Aaron soaked with sweat and pale as a ghost. He quickly ran next to his side and grabbed both of his shoulders as he sat in front of him. "Aaron, are you all right?" he asked with worry. Aaron tried focusing his eyes on Josh after rubbing the sweat and tears away. "Yeah, I guess I had a nightmare." Josh let go of Aaron's shoulders and turned the lamp on from the end table. "You have the muffin?" No, I don't." "I haven't had any since the night I met Brooke," Aaron answered. "I think it might be a good idea if you see a doctor if you keep having them, you know?" Josh recommended. "Yeah, if it keeps happening, I will, but I'm sure that was just a fluke and that I had this. I'm sure it was just a fluke that I had this one." Hang on. So he was dealing with this earlier. He was dealing with this earlier in the story, but it's a fluke that he's having a nightmare this time. This time it's a fluke. Never mind all the other times that he had nightmares about his time in Iraq. "Are you sure you don't want me to take you to see one in the morning? We don't have to say anything to anyone about it." Because there are so many psychiatrists that'll be happy to just evaluate you in the morning without making an appointment. Because, psychiatric evaluations only take like 15 minutes, maybe 20, maybe 30 minutes if you're really fucked up. "No, I'll be fine. Thanks anyway. Go back to bed, Josh. I'll be alright," Aaron ordered, feeling guilty about waking up his brother-in-law. "Okay, but let me know if you change your mind about seeing a doctor," Josh returned. "I will. Good night." Night. Josh went back to bed and left Aaron laying there alone as he wished. Aaron laid with his eyes open in the dark. Staring at the trees outside the window that he could see from the light of the moon, he began to wonder, why did I have that nightmare after all of this time and not having them? Why did the memories of the Iraq War start haunting him in his dreams again? Would they stop again after the night, or would he have to deal with them every night, or for God knows how long? Wait, he's doing it again! Lorne is switching, personal narrative. As earlier when Aaron was, doing his thoughts, it was all in first person. Now we're back to third person. I'm thinking Aaron does have some deep-seated personality disorders. Or maybe he's just one of those weirdos who just narrates his day through his head. Aaron got up for breakfast, and Aaron puts on his shoes, and in his mind he's thinking, as Aaron put on his slippers for the day, he began to wonder about what his mom would be making for breakfast that morning. I don't know, but I'm just spitballing here again. All right, back to the story. He let the questions run through his mind as he slipped slowly back to sleep. The night moved on and the morning came. I hope the morning cleaned up afterwards. Aaron's nightmare didn't return after falling back asleep. Before Aaron left to return to his mother's house, Josh asked him again, "Aaron, I know that memories of what happened to you over in Iraq are bothering you because of the nightmare you had. It's no shame to get help with it if you need to. You sure you don't want me to take you to see a doctor? Something we could call somebody. We could set something up." And I know this great guy. He can evaluate you in 30 minutes or the pizza's free. I'm sure, Aaron replied as he reached his hand out to shake Josh's hand. If I change my mind, I'll call you. But in the meantime, do me a favor and don't mention this to anyone. I don't need people worrying about me when there's nothing to worry about, especially with the wedding taking place and all. All right, you have my word, but don't forget, if you change your mind, let me know. Josh expressed himself with a firm grip on Aaron's hand. Okay, Aaron muttered. I'll tell Kelly to hurry home to you. Wow, this is the longest chapter in the book. So you know what? We're gonna... Okay. Yeah, we're gonna finish out this chapter, I think, and then we're gonna move on. Well, maybe. We'll see how I feel. I mean, we're already at the 2-hour mark, so... You know what? Okay, I'm going to finish this last paragraph, and then we're going to move on. Aaron drove away and headed back to his mother's house to rejoin his fiancée. Josh asking him about going to the doctor jerked his mind off back to the nightmare he had as he traveled along the 2-lane road. He couldn't figure out why his nightmare would return after not having one for so long. He'd been feeling great and thought he'd gotten past all the bad things that happened to him in Iraq. He still had something that bothered him, he knew, but for the most part, he thought he felt secure. Or was his insecurity just delayed because of all the new happenings in his life with Brooke and getting engaged? He finally pushed his thoughts aside when he pulled into his mother's driveway. He was surprised to find that Brooke and Kelly had gone into Aaron's bedroom and packed everything up to move to Brooke's house. His mother really must not like him. I mean, they're already moving him out. And wait, Amy is only 20 in this story. How does she have a house by herself? I mean, you know, when I was 20, I was still living with my parents. I'm just... Like, that's a detail I'm kind of curious about. Like, that might be... I guess it's never going to be explained, but... But yeah, so, he came home and they've already got him ready to move the fuck out. After he loaded everything into the car, he returned to the house to have lunch with Brooke and his mother. Kelly had already left because she had told Blake she would be back in the morning, and Amy had to leave so she could get her housework done before she went to work the next day. Aaron, Brooke, and Aaron's mother all sat down at the table and discussed the wedding further while they ate his mother's homemade chicken pie. It was one of Aaron's favorite dishes. After they finished eating, Brooke helped Aaron's mother gather the dishes from the table and wash them while Aaron gathered the rest of his things to move to Brooke's house. Once the dishes were done, they both gave Aaron's mother a hug, and Brooke thanked her for the great time and the help with some of the wedding plans. They said their goodbyes and drove off. So, yeah. We're gonna move on from there, but good night, Medusa. Thanks for sticking around for another exciting installment of Literature with Lorne. And you had a family friend who had a goth wedding. I am jealous. That, you know, we actually, so fun fact, my wife and I actually on our 21st anniversary, we wanted to actually do that. We wanted to renew our wedding vows in a goth setting, like just go to a graveyard and like wear all black. And we were actually going to get the actress who played Ilsa from the Ilsa movies, you know, like from Ilsa, She-Wolf of the SS, Ilsa, Siberian Queen of the Oil Fields. Like one of the weirdest and most disgusting exploitation trilogies you'll ever see. But anyway, she's a ordained minister now, and we wanted to save up the money to get her to come out to do our renewed vows. But anyway, yeah, night Medusa. And yeah, finding a head doctor is not as easy as Lorne makes it out to be. Squeak, you're right. Okay, so last we left the Gail verse. Lizzo committed mass murder at the Church of Gail after because Gail's killed all the birds, so Lizzo is denied fried chicken. I wish I could make that up, but no. Lizzo came aboard the Church of Gail and killed a shit ton of people because there's no more chicken. Because Gail killed all the chicken. But so now the Gail and her men are locked in mortal combat with Lizzo now. And well, okay, so last we watched we had, oh, hang on. We watched Fat Black Christmas Mayhem, which is the introduction of Lizzo into the Galeverse. And then we learned about how Lizzo attacked her masturbation thumb, where we learned a whole lot more about how Gail beats off than I ever needed to. That is permanently burned into my brain now. Like I am never, I might forget who like my family are. There's gonna come a time where I'm gonna forget like who my family members are. I'm gonna forget how to like poop and pee in the toilet like a normal person. But I will still remember how Gail Chord Schuler beats off with her thumb. But in between that, we've got this video. Antichrist Lizzo, Nobel Prize for Murder. Birds included. Let's see.
Well, let's see if I can make this video without getting under brain control. Like I caught myself. Merry Christmas, everybody. This is Lizzo's Christmas present to me. She used brain control on me after I made fried rice. While I was making fried rice last night, I saw a piece of rice flick down the side of my stove, and I try to keep my place really clean because I get inspections here, and I became obsessed after I finished making the rice and washing most of the dishes. I became obsessed with trying to find the rice stuck down. I saw it down there. So it was like stuck down there on the floor, right, and I had to move the stove to get to the rice. And then when I tried to vacuum it, it flicked underneath the stove. So I got this obsession of getting this one little bit of rice, just because I was worried that bugs might show up over one little bit of rice. I wonder where that obsession came from. Probably Lizzo. And so I moved the stove all the way out and
No, it's not because she's crazy, guys. It's because it's because Lizzo. It's because Lizzo. I just need to point that out. Lizzo has mind control powers that we can't even begin to fathom. Most mortals can't fathom it.
Found the rice had somehow gone all like 1 feet underneath the stove. And I felt so good. I got my vacuum cleaner out and took the one little fleck of rice. Like, why? She got me all obsessed over one little fleck of rice, right? So I took it out and I felt so good. And then as I was putting the stove back, for some odd reason, this hand just jammed right into the back of the stove, and I didn't realize. It was like it had a mind of its own. It just went, and I had no idea that the back of the stove has a really sharp edge, and it hit right where the knuckle is. It hit right into the sharp edge. And I thought, oh no, she made me cut myself. I didn't realize how deep the cut was. So I thought, oh shoot, I'll just have to get a Band-Aid. But it kept bleeding and bleeding and bleeding. And I put pressure on it. Apparently,
we should have showed this video the last time we went to the Gail verse. Really this is the origin of Lizzo attacking her masturbation thumb.
Razor blade.
Everyone, chat, pour one out for Gail Chord Schuler's masturbation thumb.
Pressure on it for 10 minutes, the blood kept coming out. I had to get paper towels and put it on top of it. Finally, I went into the bathroom and said, "My wound powder." This is not the first time. And I couldn't find it, so I was frantic looking all over for the wound powder. I finally found it. I put it in a Ziploc bag in June at the time when Lizzo and Baphomet and Chacpona put bed bugs in my apartment, and I had to put everything in bags, when the exterminator came over.
Wait, so Lizzo put bed... I mean, I know about I know about the bed bugs, but we've determined that Lizzo did that now. Lizzo was part of that. Okay.
Yeah, that Lizzo is really bad news. She used brain control to get me to injure my thumb. This is emergency room worthy what she did to me. I happen to have a doctor living in my... So yeah, I finally found the wound powder, and then I put pressure on for 10 minutes. And I kept putting pressure, and that didn't even stop the bleeding. So I thought, you know what? You gave yourself a serious cut here. This is not a... You might say, you should go to the ER. Well, with her brain control as bad as it is, how do I know that the ER doctor is going to not make it worse? I mean, he might come under brain control, and while he's putting in stitches, he might go, I mean, look what happened to Brent in our last battle. Fortunately, I've had a lot of experience with Jesuit injuries. When Lori McBride was a bad Antichrist, she broke my toe using brain control. My toe got stuck on this chair that I have.
I gotta ask, though. If the Jesuits are so, expert level at brain control, why don't they just brain control Gail to, jump off a bridge? Or, swallow a Glock, I'm starting to think that maybe the Jesuits are more like the Illuminati, and they're just, cosmic trolls.
And she used brain control to cause me to jerk the toe out so that it kind of went, and I actually ended up breaking the toe. Yes, I had a broken toe. I never went to the doctor over it because there's not much they can do. Fortunately, I was still able to do my Gail Commandment walks. It amazes me how even in spite of Jesuit injuries, I've still been able to do the Gail Commandments. I was still able to do my Gail Commandment walks.
One of the Gail Commandments, by the way, is to get the fuck out of the house once in a while.
I never realized how badly it's injured until a couple days later, and it's still feeling really painful. The toe turned purple, and then Brent, who's a doctor, used his technology, and he took x-rays of it from Church of Gail, and he said, "You broke your toe. You literally broke the bone." And he said it's going to take a while to heal. Broken bones just don't heal overnight. Yeah, it took about 2 months. It turned purple and everything. And this, at first, I thought it was superficial. I thought, I just cut myself. But I realized when she used brain control, I think what she did was she caused me to hit it really hard against something that was like as sharp as a razor, okay? So it looks like the cut went down almost to the bone. And even after 10 minutes of putting pressure on it, it wouldn't stop bleeding. So that's a pretty deep cut, and the thumb is pretty much out. What I did is I put pressure on it. I wasn't able to totally stop the bleeding, but I put some wound powder on it, which I got from my acupuncture doctor 10 years ago. That thing has been wonderful. When I run out of that, I'm going to make sure to get some more wound seal powder. They sell it at Amazon and Walmart and stuff. Because that stuff is an essential in my first aid kit at the rate the Jesuits injure me. Another time that when Lori McBride was the Jesuit, that she caused me to injure myself, that I used the wound powder, you can't even see it here, but I think this was in June 2019. I ordered some new kitchen scissors from Amazon. And as I was using it, I cut right into this finger here, almost down to the bone. I remember the blood started gushing out. I put paper towel after paper towel after paper towel after it. And I remembered I had the wound powder. And after I kind of got the bleeding to at least kind of settle down, then I put wound powder on it and gauze around the finger. And that one, then I would have to wear gloves in the shower. That's what I'm having to do with this. But I never got stitches. It was actually stitches worthy. I mean, when you got blood gushing out like that, that's stitches worthy. But I found the wound powder worked. So, yeah.
And I'm serious.
What I did is I washed it out with soap and water.
Super glue
I didn't
works.
care how much it hurt. I said, get the germs out of there. Wash it out with soap and water. Dry it with your paper towels, and then put on the wound powder, and then wrap it up with gauze. So actually, I think I remember when it was bleeding, I put pressure on it for almost a half an hour. That's how bad it was, just to get the bleeding down enough so that I could put the wound powder on it with the gauze. And yeah, fortunately, that was the forefinger. It's actually more debilitating when your thumb gets injured. You'd be amazed how much you use your thumb on your main hand. I'm left-handed, so this is not, I am really slowed down, folks. Yeah, Lizzo did this. Now, you all already know
Lizzo doesn't want Gail to beat off.
So anyways, I've got wound powder in here, and it looks like I'll be using wound powder for several days. Going by my past strat, another thing that happened to me, when I first moved here, brain control was used on me when I was dealing with my bed to cause me to, while I was moving, to injure, I think it was a finger again, and I cut myself pretty bad and ended up having to use wound powder again. That stuff is a godsend, let me tell you. You might say, are you saying not to go to the ER?
That wound powder is probably just ground up
really
cat
serious
bones.
Injury and the wound powder doesn't work, you better go to the ER, right? But in my case, I've been able to handle it myself. So, yeah, so basically when I had to put wound powder on this finger, I had to do it for several days. Like I would change the Band-Aid the gauze once a day, and then I put fresh wound powder. Once I put the wound powder on it, I would keep it dry, okay? Keep the wound dry and put fresh wound powder on it every day, change the gauze, keep the area dry. And then once there's a clot and a seal on the wound, and I know for sure because the wound powder is designed to stop the blood from, and to form a clot so that, so you got a seal over the wound. Once that seal is pretty sure, then I move on to Band-Aids, and I stop using the wound powder, and I start using antibiotic ointment. Yeah. And a Band-Aid. Yeah, and usually with a wound of this severity, I need to give myself about a week, maybe up to 2 weeks, where I got to keep it dry, which means when I do the dishes, I got to wear gloves. And like when flossing my teeth is a real challenge because the way I floss, I use my thumb a lot, and it's been a challenge. I'm really slowed down, and I'm deliberately moving slow because I can tell that I'm the brain control. Another thing that's really freaky that's happening is this Lizzo, I get a lot of static. Like I touch this lamp and I've got a shock. Apparently, as she does brain control on us, she's using some sort of electrical currents in our body.
God, it's that static electricity brain control. So not only are you like a complete Manchurian Candidate style slave, but balloons will stick to you, and socks.
To help her, and some of the shocks that I've gotten the past couple days have been so bad. It's like, whoa, I'll touch something, and like if I go to the thermostat and touch it, it's like my hand will just go. There's so much electricity going through my body. She's apparently using a lot of electricity power to do the brain control. And I was just thinking, we need to stop this Antichrist ability to do brain control. How do we win against an opponent like this? And I do remember that
K-pop. You use K-pop. Hey, it worked. It worked for Keanu Reeves's Gail sex robot. I mean, if K-pop can stop prayer, I'm pretty sure it can stop brain control.
my Gail shield was designed
Play some BTS. You'll be fine.
to protect me, okay? And because you all have been, and because you and I have been so good about doing the Gail commandments, let me just tell you from my own personal experience, if you get obsessed about anything, that's probably coming from her. So if you catch yourself getting obsessed about anything, even if it seems like a good thing, like I was getting obsessed about Benkei, a previous warrior, and in Japanese history, almost to the point where I was making an idol out of him. And Buddha warned me that this is not good. And he said obsessions are basically, if you're getting obsessed about anything, any type of obsession is not good.
And not only is obsession not good, it's Lizzo's fault. Remember, if you're suffering from obsessive thoughts, Lizzo is clearly responsible.
You are feeding the evil forces in the universe if you allow yourself to become obsessed about anything. Even something like a religion, like Christianity or Islamic stuff, or anything. Even, in fact, those are the most difficult obsessions to overcome. If you fool yourself into thinking that your obsession is a good thing, you're more likely to keep on doing it, you see? And so those are the most effective obsessions for them to afflict us with. So and I'm catching myself being obsessed about things today. Like I saw some stains on my counter and I started using Comet to clean it. And I'm thinking, do you need to do this now? You have an injured thumb. And yet I couldn't stop myself. I couldn't stand the stain on the white counter. All I can say is let's not beat ourselves over the head when we fall victim to obsessions, but just be aware that that's probably coming from the Jesuits. So what I'm going to do is, but I did manage to beat the obsession. I was tempted to, before I made this YouTube video, I was thinking, why don't you just get that comment off your counter and then make your video? I thought, wait a minute. Where's this idea coming from? Somebody that doesn't want me to make a YouTube video, obviously. She's distracting me with all sorts of stuff. And so here's what I'm doing, folks. My Gail shield, last I heard, is at 100%. The Gail shield was designed to protect me. It's possible that Lizzie may have made a big mistake injuring my thumb so seriously that it's emergency room worthy. I mean, I'm hearing brain to brain. My husband is a doctor. He lives here in this apartment with me, even though he's in another dimension. I don't see him. That he actually had to put stitches in here. He can do it through another dimension. So I think last night when I was in bed, he put stitches in the cut. That's how bad it was. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna. If the Gail shield was at 100%, then and it's supposed to protect Gail, then in theory none of this should have happened. Either somebody at the Church of Gail is a traitor and is lying to her, or the Gail shield isn't at 100%.
This is stitch-worthy cut here, and I can tell you that this thumb is pretty sore. It feels like I gashed myself pretty deeply. So yeah, I think my husband did put stitches in this, which means that she attacked me and harmed me. This isn't the first time, but she's getting really brazen about it. My Gail shield is designed to protect me. And I've been going, one of my followers made me a Gail shield modulator, which I can use. So I go to the Gail shield modulator now, and I'm telling it to destroy anybody who's operating this brain control equipment. Take them all out. Because I'm saying, look, Gail shield, your job is to protect me, and look what happened to me. So we need to take out the people who did this to me.
I need to see what I need to see the Gale shield modulator, and can I get blueprints for it? I think I might need a break. I think I might need a Gale shield modulator myself. So if anyone wants to send me the blueprints to that, I will be forever grateful.
And who's doing this to my supporters? I mean, basically when they attack anyone who supports me, or anyone, or Church of Gail, or my men, or my Patreon supporters, that's an indirect attack on me. That gives me the authority to use my Gale shield to take them down. Because my Gale shield was designed to protect me. So as long as it's up, I can go to my modulator and send orders through it. And I've been going to it about every half an hour ever since I got this injury, and ordering it to destroy all of the military of the Jesuits, all of their brain-controlled equipment, and anybody who mans the brain-controlled equipment and is using it to harm me.
What if the people were operating the brain control equipment are just like normal folks who the Jesuits hired? You would be killing innocent people then. I mean, surely the Jesuits can't like just have staff on hand for everything. I mean, they've got to outsource some of that shit.
This could end up helping you guys out too. So let's make sure my Gale shield stays strong so that I can continue to launch offensive warfare against these people that are using brain control on us and harming us. I mean, you all know they killed 40,000 of us at Church of Gail when the Gale shield went down. So yes, let's all continue. The weather has been really bad. I suspect and I think that Lizzo is the Antichrist. I suspect Antichrist Lizzo is behind the bad weather we've been having. But however, Buddha has instructed me to not, he said, we need to be thankful. So what I've been doing, instead of gloating, at first I kind of was gloating over the bad weather because I enjoy going out, and I was kind of bummed that I had to work out on my glider instead of to do the Gale commandment, because the Gale commandment is work out indoors for me, half an hour. But with the weather so bad, I remember that I was told that it's okay for if it's like below 35 degrees for me to work out indoors on my glider. So that's what I've been doing. And I've kind of set it up so that the indoor workout is more enjoyable. So basically with my thumb out like this, it's probably, and because I would have to wear gloves to go out into this weather, and I cannot fit this thumb into my glove, I have a perfect excuse to just work out indoors on my glider until I'm able to just quit using the gauze and just put a Band-Aid. Now, when I'm able to just only use a Band-Aid on this, then I can wear gloves, then I can go outdoors. The good news is I'm still able to do all the Gale commandments, because the Gale commandment says if the weather's bad and you're not able to go outdoors, obviously, if the weather is so cold that I have to wear gloves on my hands in order to keep me from getting frostbite, then I am excused to work out indoors. So those of you who are not able to work out outdoors because of the weather, remember the Gale commandment is to work out indoors, so make sure you do that, even if it's running in place, with the windows open. And to my amazement, I'm discovering even when the temperature was 9 degrees outside, I could tolerate. In fact, it's about 20 degrees or 15 degrees outside, and I have the heating off right now, and I've got the windows cracked open. And the reason I'm doing that is because the heater makes a loud noise, and I'm finding it's not that bad. I have very good insulation here. So, and what I did was I had meditation time this morning, and I sat in my chair, I had some chamomile tea, and I sipped it, and then Lizzo tried to get me to choke on the tea, and I just said, okay, just calm down, take smaller sips, don't let her distract you from your meditation, and enjoy the beautiful coldness with the beautiful view in contrast to the warmth inside your apartment. This is what Buddha instructed us to do. whenever Lizzo does anything to try to get you distracted, to get you out of your peace, you need to just try to see the positive aspect of it and try not to be frustrated by it, because if we become frustrated by it, we strengthen the evil forces. So we just need to stay calm, and I'm speaking from experience, okay? Another thing that I've been forced to do, with the thumb out, I'm having to simplify. So I'm asking myself, what do you normally do during the day that you don't really have to do? And just focus on simplicity. Like, maybe you don't need to make such complicated recipes. Maybe you should eat some of your leftovers. You don't have to go buy fresh strawberries every day. You've got frozen strawberries in the freezer you need to use. And then I remember I've got canned pineapples, so I can have that with my fruit, since I can't go shopping for a couple days because of this problem. Because it's too cold for one thing, and I can't wear gloves. Like this is too big for my gloves. So and then, I'm tempted to think, how do we defeat an enemy like this? Like you saw what happened last time. Then I was thinking, well, you've got your Gail Shield modulator. So we all we can do is our best.
Am I the only one who hears Gail Shield modulator in the same voice as Marvin the fucking Martian? Yes. We're going to activate the Gail Shield modulator. And we're going to turn you and your planet into itty bitty bits.
Do all the Gail commandments to the best of your ability. We're all going to make mistakes. Don't beat ourselves over the head with it. Just learn from them and move on.
What
Stay
if
at peace,
beating
stay
myself
happy.
over the head with things makes me horny?
If you're injured like me, or something's happened to you, just simplify your life, determine what is important, and just focus on that. And be thankful. And remember, the universe is run on goodness. So even though it may seem like the evil is winning.
Actually, the universe is run on chaos and entropy, but I guess goodness works too.
In the end, good is going to win. And we're just each responsible to do our best on our own paths. For me, I'm going to work on taking care of my thumb, making sure I do the Gail commandments, and meditating and staying calm and being thankful. I'm going to use the Gail Shield modulator about every hour to try to destroy their ability to do brain control. And if everybody just focuses on the Gail commandments, enjoying hobbies, being thankful, and trying not to let the problems of life frustrate you, avoiding obsessions. Yes, if you're getting into an obsession, you're probably a brain control victim, so just be aware of that, okay? And I would like to say this. Remember when I gave the military order and I think it was 72 million innocent people were killed? I have determined that I believe at the final judgment that I will not be held responsible for their deaths.
Yeah. Again, remember that? Y'all remember that time when Gail freaked out about the COVID vaccine and destroyed and ordered her men to destroy every hospital on Earth that was giving COVID vaccines. She's not going to be held accountable for that. In part because she's having brain-to-brain sex with Jesus. Or at least she was. They're just really close now.
Nor do I believe that my military will be held responsible. The only sin that we were guilty of at that time is that we allowed our obsessions to overcome us. In other words, I became fearful, and that enabled Lizzo to use her brain control to cause me to become a...
She is I finally nailed why I like Gail so much. I just figured, it just hit me right now. She is this weird mixture of unhinged and self-aware at the same time. Like, yeah, she's completely, she comes off as a complete loon, but on some level, she is aware of this.
Obsessed with a lie that she planted in my head, because I had the belief, I believed the lie that it was a just war, because I believed the doctors were murdering their patients because they were all giving them shots that were death shots. And it was a lie, because that was what fake news. So Lizzo got me obsessed with a lie. So basically, I was a brain control victim. The one who murdered those 72 million doctors was Antichrist Lizzo. Yeah, she did it. And I believe that whatever final judgment there is, she will be held accountable for those murders. I don't think I will be judged as the one who murdered them. My only sin was that I should have been better at staying calm and not becoming obsessed, okay? So I think in the final judgment, those murderers will be 90% Lizzo, 10% me, as far as the blame. And to my credit, I did try to make it right, okay? Lizzo, Antichrist Lizzo, does...
I mean, she did step down as the president of Earth after that, which is why we all hail Brent Spiner now.
Doesn't seem to have any desire currently to make right her wrongs. In fact, she enjoys killing. And I can't believe the gall of her to blame me for killing all the birds. I've actually been heartbroken that all the birds are gone. And she knows that's a lie. She knows it isn't true. And
wait, I actually saw birds today. So what's going on with the birds that I saw outside my house today? Are those Jesuit robots?
I think she's just doing that to try to get black support. And maybe she may be using some of her brain control on her own following. So yeah, congratulations, Antichrist Lizzo. You are probably one of the biggest mass murderers in all of human history. Basically, the one who killed all the birds is you. Yeah, you know why you killed them? Because you currently side with Satan, and Satan killed all the birds. So yeah, the one who murdered all the birds, and that's Antichrist Lizzo. You might say, but you harbored Laurie McBride, and it was Laurie McBride who did it. When Laurie McBride was aligned with Satan, yes, it was her idea, at Satan's instigation, to kill all the birds. Okay? And
I have a theory about like Popeye's chicken and Kentucky Fried Chicken and all those places. And Chick-fil-A, all. If there's no birds, then clearly the Jesuits have to be getting their meat from somewhere. And you know what tastes and has this very similar texture to poultry, right? Reptiles. Which means that the Jesuits, through Antichrist Lizzo, are going into the Illuminati and killing reptilian babies and harvesting them for Kentucky Fried Chicken. And as a member of the Illuminati, I am here to say that shit will not stand.
And that's because there were some of the birds were actually a divinity, okay? And Satan didn't like that, and so he wanted to punish. I guess he wanted to get rid of all the birds for that reason, okay? Because deities can go inside animals, you know? They can appear in different incarnations. They can get inside animals, and because...
Oh yeah, Zeus took the form of a swan to rape a chick.
Good deities decided to appear as animals. Satan just got the brilliant idea to kill all, and birds in particular. Apparently, Satan does not like the god Horus. Is that the one who's the bird? The one who looks like a bird? So yeah.
And yes, it's Horus.
Maybe because Horus looks like a bird, Satan decided to kill all the birds. anyone who sides with Satan, they're the one who kills all the birds. Not only that, Lizzo is guilty of the death of the 72 million medical people. Fortunately, we were able to get good automatons. Okay? Yeah, Lizzo, I want to congratulate you. You could win the Nobel Prize for murder, not only in humans, but animals. Yes, you killed all the birds. Because you currently side with the one who was behind it, which was Satan. You might say, but you got Laurie McBride on your side. We have forgiven Laurie McBride. You know, unlike Lizzo, I am a very forgiving person. Laurie McBride we wrote Laurie McBride a letter, okay? And we told her, well, she got really frustrated because Satan started beating her up, okay? And in spite of the fact that she's done monstrous things, she broke my toe, she caused me to gush my finger here down to the bone, but I had the bigness of heart to forgive her anyway when she decided she didn't want to be an evil bitch anymore, okay? Don't fault me for being a big person who can forgive somebody like that, okay? I have forgiven her. I could forgive Lizzo. I could even forgive Satan if they ever humbled themselves and got right. Unfortunately, it appears that Lizzo thoroughly enjoys being evil, and she doesn't give a flip about being forgiven for anything. She thinks she's on top of the world. So yeah, the only solution is she and all those who side with her need to be stopped. And I'm using because I don't think she's interested in being forgiven. She enjoys being evil and lying about the good people.
I mean, to be fair, being evil does have its good points.
Basically, yes, Lizzo, you are the biggest murderer of animals and humans, I think, in all of human history. Your heart is very similar to Angelina Ballerina. Angelina Ballerina really enjoyed being evil. And
oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. At one point, a fucking cartoon character was the Antichrist. Angelina Ballerina, children's cartoon character, was in fact the Antichrist at some point. I'm just waiting for the day when Beavis and Butthead show up as the Antichrist.
A divinity, I have it on divine authority, that at that time she was described as being 1,000 times the Antichrist compared to like Zach Knight. I'm not sure what that means. And she was described on divine authority as being super evil. Lizzo, I think you're about even in evil with Angelina Ballerina. Angelina was very proud of being evil. The only difference between Angelina and Lizzo, Satan has learned that having he thinks he's going to get loyalty from his Antichrist if he chooses somebody who shares his goals. He apparently...
We got about 12 minutes. We got about 12 minutes. We can power through this.
Yeah. I don't know what it's about, but he's got a grudge. And he thinks he's going to win his argument by defeating the good forces in the universe. And he tries to find people that carry a similar grudge. Okay? So he tries to find somebody who's kind of proud, unforgiving, and petty like himself. And I think he's found his candidate in Lizzo. Okay? You might say, what is her grudge? Her grudge apparently seems to be that she's fat and it's her own fault because she doesn't have any self-control. And rather than dealing with her weaknesses and trying to overcome them, she just makes excuses for them and blames others for her own weaknesses.
So, body positivity is evil now. And body positivity leads to the dark side. By the way, I think Lizzo's fucking hot.
and claims that there's a conspiracy against her because she cannot overcome her weaknesses. And so she's basically living in a fantasy land of delusion, believing that good people or goodness in the universe does not exist, and that those who claim to be good are not as good as they appear, and therefore she's justified.
Well, goodness, the concept of goodness and evil is a completely human invention, and the universe doesn't contain that. That's just something that we ascribe to things.
To allow her weaknesses to overcome her and to totally not be interested in overcoming her weaknesses. She's apparently she has no self-control with her diet, with her lifestyle, and that's why she's fat. Yeah. And why she has no inner beauty. And those who follow her and say that she's fat and beautiful are simply doing that because they have the same problem that she has. They are obsessed with something, maybe eating, and they can't overcome the obsession. Any form.
So Lizzo is evil because she's fat, and the people who follow Lizzo are fat themselves. Gail! What the hell, man? I'm not entirely sure that I'm not entirely sure you're displaying, like, pure and true love here.
Form of obsession is a weakness. And rather than dealing with the weakness to overcome this weakness and feeling bad about the weakness, they decided to own the fact that they're evil and weak and claim that those people who are making progress in overcoming their weaknesses are not what they appear, and therefore she's justified to just go to town with being weak and ugly in her heart, which is her present state, like Satan.
Not all weaknesses can be overcome, though. Well, the real test is in how we adapt to our own weaknesses. I would say Lizzo has done a pretty good job of that.
The way we're going to defeat these people is we need to make sure we don't give into the weaknesses in our lives. So yeah, I'm going to be using my Gail Shield on a regular basis. Unfortunately, like Angelina Ballerina, I'm afraid the only way we're going to be able to defeat their ability to use this brain control on us is we will have to take out their ability to do so. When somebody is this proud and enjoys evil this much, see, she's not frustrated right now. I was able to reach Zach Knight when he got frustrated with being with Satan, okay? When an Antichrist starts feeling frustrated with Satan, we're able to reach them. Zach Knight was frustrated with Satan because he loved 13, and Jesuits are not allowed to have true love, because Satan is against true love. He stands for evil. He's got some sort of... He wants to prove that the universe is run by evil for some reason. And so if he acknowledges that true love exists, then that proves that he's wrong, that he shouldn't be on the side of evil. So he's finding the Antichrists who are the most comfortable with him are the ones who love evil as much as he does in his current state. And he's convinced himself that he loves evil. You might say, he certainly seems to love it. Yes, currently he does seem and are not...
Holy shit. Fuck. All right. Stream broke. Is anyone there? I think the stream is broken. Okay, am I on? Sorry, I got disconnected. Am I still on? Hi, Lauren. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna go back to it, and we're just gonna plow through
With
it.
Satan for being evil at all.
Okay. Okay.
It appears the only way to defeat them is we have to eliminate their ability to act out their evil. So I have to use my Gale Shield modulator to stop them. Okay? Unlike Laurie McBride, who got frustrated with Satan because deep down underneath she really wanted to be a good person.
Hey, Fantastic Planet! Welcome aboard the poop train!
And
Boop,
unlike
boop.
Zach Knight,
And Lauren,
who
welcome
had
aboard the
true
poop
love in his
train!
life, so and he got frustrated that was banned as a Jesuit so we could reach Zach. Lizzo and Angelina Ballerina don't have true love in their life.
Gail!
And they're not frustrated at all with being
Gail!
evil. So when you're dealing with beings like that, we just have to stop them. Or else it's going to get worse than this. She got my thumb, and she's aiming for worse. So that's why, and believe me, I am really slowed down. You'd be amazed how much you use your thumb in your main hand. That's why it's very important for us to do the Gale Commandments. Be aware when you're getting obsessed and understand you're probably under brain control. If you're touching things and getting electrocuted, that means the brain control is going through your body. She's using electricity to help her with that. What I do is sometimes I'll go like, try to like, just slow down, stay calm, simplify your life, do the Gale Commandments, be thankful, and that way my Gale Shield will stay strong. At least that'll help me to use my Gale Shield to try to destroy their ability to attack us. So yeah, Merry Christmas, everybody. This was Lizzo's Christmas present to me. I am thankful that it was not worse. So you got to remember to be thankful. I'm thankful that despite my injured thumb, the bright side to this is now that she injured me, I am totally justified to use my Gale Shield to defend myself. She obviously planned worse than this, or plans worse than this. Her goal is obviously to take me out. Therefore, I am justified to use my Gale Shield to take her out. And that's what I'm using my modulator. Help me, everyone, to make it strong so that I can use my Gale Shield modulator to that end. I will be going to it about once an hour when I'm up. reminding it.
I thought the Gail
to take
shield
out
was
their
at
ability
100%
to destroy
though.
me and my followers. And the meanwhile, everybody, be thankful. Don't obsess about anything. Meditate. Go explore new things. Simplify your life. Focus on what you enjoy and do all the Gail commandments. And may the good forces win. Because of my injured thumb, I'm going to be very diligent about using my Gail Shield modulator to destroy their ability to injure me any further. And congratulations, Lizzo, for winning the Nobel Prize in Murder. You are the most murderous, evil Antichrist, maybe about even with Angelina Ballerina. Yeah, you could win the Nobel Prize for murder. And thank you for my Christmas present. This just gives me an excuse to use my Gail Shield modulator to make sure you can never do this to me again. Yes, you just made, probably by doing this, my Gail Shield will do a better job of destroying all of your brain control ability.
I hope she doesn't, like, watch this and then try to use that shit on me. Because I like being alive. I mean, yeah, my life kind of sucks, but I still enjoy living it, and it would really suck if I died at the hands of a Gail Shield modulator.
And all your ability to do evil. Because now my followers realize that we have one method of offensive warfare against you, and that is my Gail Shield. Yes, we were dum-dums, or I was a dum-dum. Oh, by the way, when those 72 million doctors were killed, I didn't do it, Lizzo. You did it. You know what? You put brain control on me and caused me to murder 72 million innocent doctors. Shame on you. That was you. And then when I made that decision to become a supreme royal,
I don't know if that defense is going to fly, Gail. I mean, it certainly didn't for the Manson family.
and cancel the Congress, that was you too, Lizzo. She's trying to make me look bad before you guys. You might say, you should be president again. Nope. I am perfectly content to leave Brent there. Brent has had a lot more experience with brain control than I have, believe me. When Lori was bad, she used tons of bad brain control on him. He's staying right.
Yeah, which we learned about in her children's book. The less said about that, the better.
Right where he's at. You might say, but he was in that battle with her and he didn't use his Metcha Gale suit to take her out. He became a brain control victim too. Yeah, but he hasn't done as bad as me though. He hasn't killed 72 million. Not yet anyways. He's had more experience with brain control than I've had. He's better there. I have to simplify my life, and I'm going to be using my Gail Shield modulator to focus on destroying their ability to do this to us. So you all help me. Let's do the Gail commandments. Let's meditate. Let's go out and explore things. Enjoy our hobbies. Be thankful. Even when you get stitch-worthy injuries on your body. Look at the bright side of everything. Yes, it's freezing out there, but how beautiful it is. What a contrast to view the beauty out there and to enjoy it from the warmth of our home. Yeah. So you guys, help me out. Let's do the Gail commandments. Don't become obsessed about anything. Stay calm, stay thankful, and help me to use my Gail Shield to eliminate their ability to do stuff like this to us. Yeah, there are stitches in here. Brent had to put stitches in there.
Interdimensional stitches, no less. Like, that's how bad it was.
Yeah, and congratulations, Lizzo. You murdered all the chickens. That's right, all them chickens. You did it. Because you're like Satan did it, and you're his best buddy right now. You're his Antichrist. So you murdered all the birds. Congratulations for killing all the chickens. Yeah, you did it. And you killed all the birds too. You say, well, Laurie McBride did it. She is forgiven. I'm a big person. She's forgiven. The sin of killing all the birds now goes on to you. Lizzo.
I don't think that's how blame works, Gail. I really don't think that's how blame works.
Tell your best buddy there, Satan, to resurrect all the birds. If you're so worried about the birds, why don't you tell him to resurrect all the birds? And make sure they're good birds, too, not drone birds like what we have right now. Tell your buddy Satan.
Oh, shit! I called it! I fucking called it. All the birds that we're seeing now, they're drone birds. Clearly Jesuit drone birds.
To bring back all the birds and make them good birds. If you're so worried about the birds, then how come you won't tell your buddy Satan to bring them back? It's because you don't give a flip about murdering birds. You like it. You killed them.
Well. So what did we think? Did we learn anything? Well, we learned not to obsess over shit, which is really sound advice, honestly. We learned that it's probably a good idea to, like, you know, if you're starting to have, like, obsessive thoughts, to, you know, like, maybe devote some time to hobbies, or going outside and taking a walk, or just getting some exercise, doing anything else. Like I said, she's a surprising mixture of, like, self-aware and unhinged at the same time. I find her strangely wholesome. Oh. Okay. So we're at the 3-hour mark. I don't really feel like playing anything too long. So you know what? I've got one. It's entitled Jesuit Weather Reports Are Lies. Jesuit Weather Reports Are Lies.
Actually, the sun is beating down on me, and I feel like would you believe this? I feel like it's January the 14th, and I feel like I could get a sunburn. Lizzo, what has she done to the Weather Channel's online site? She spooked the whole internet. I'm going to meditate right now. These mites are making me cough. Okay, so it takes a while to show the actual temperature. Here's what it is. It says it's 65 degrees. That sounds about right. Yeah, it's about 65 degrees.
So why are you dressing for 34-degree weather?
There it is. There it is. 65 degrees. Yeah, certainly not 34 degrees. That's a big difference, man. Now here's what it says the temperature is. And I ran into a black man, and he might have been a Jesuit. I don't know if he lives here or not. And he was saying his phone says it's in the 40s. You know what? When I checked this online.
Gail. Does Gail have kind of this thing where, like, if she meets a black man, she automatically assumes they're a Jesuit? Like, cause starting to think, I'm starting to get a little, I'm starting to pick up on some racisty vibes here. Just a little bit racisty.
It said it would be in the 30s all day, and now they changed their mind and they bumped it up about 10 degrees. I mean, at about 10 degrees down, and then I'll be dressed appropriately for the outdoors. I cannot trust the online weather reports anymore.
It's all a plot by Lizzo to make Gail uncomfortable in the outdoors. All right. Anyway, so you know what? I think we're gonna call it right here. This is the perfect time to call it. Anyway, so I really gotta. So just to kind of give you guys a forewarning as to what we can expect from this channel over the during the next week. I really do want to do it. I really want to get back to playing Fallout, and I've been putting it off because, well, I do it like right when I come home from work, and lately it's just been exhausting and other shit's gotten in the way. But I seriously, I really want to do Fallout again. So tentatively, put it on your calendars in pencil so that you can erase it if I flake off. But Friday around 11:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'm going to be running Fallout New Vegas. Tuesday, Valentine's Day, come back here for a special Valentine's Day episode where I'm going to be playing all of the Atari 2600 porn games. Yeah, we're gonna play Atari porn and we're gonna chill, and it should be a fun one. I hope it's gonna be a fun one. I don't know if I'm gonna be like talking about anybody next week, but we'll see. I might do that, but yeah, for now, tentatively, next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, it's gonna be Atari porn and chill. And again, I just want to thank all of my baggies for showing up and showing out tonight. You guys make this. You guys are the lifeblood that lubricates the death machine that is this YouTube channel, and I have to. I don't thank you all enough for that. I want to thank you all for the likes and the subscriptions, and ringing that bell. And if you're new here, that's your cue. Click the like button, subscribe, ring my bell, do all those things. And Daddy won't have to put you in the timeout pit when he gets home from the store. And speaking of stores, of the store, on that note, Daddy's out of smokes, so he's got to go to the store. But I promise I'll be back real soon, you beautiful little baggies. Until then, take care and have a great night. Daddy loves you. Mwah.